you explore imperfect visions like I've been here before. Falling faster, I try to ignore. I see you, I see you. I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never end. This is not what I came here to find. Memories show that I'm out of time. See a shadow, don't know if it's mine, but I see you, I see you, I see you, I see you, I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never end.
3, 2, 1, and we are live. Do you know what time it is, CB?
Oh, I think I know what time it is, but let me hear you tell him what time it is, Keg.
Well, I'm certainly no Gregorian fan, but something tells me it is NECC o'clock. Hey, what do you know? It's week 2. It's the only day of the week that matters. I'm petitioning that we rename Tuesday to NECC Day. My name is Keg, and I'm joined by CB, and we are here for Division 2. I'm going to be seeing how well these teams play out, CB.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I have been locked in to the pro scene and, keeping up with what's going on with MRI and MRC, and I'm really excited to see what the next generation has in store for us. Schools all around the world have been taking notice of the Marvel Rivals esports scene on the rise, saying we want a piece of that pie, and I can't wait to see how big of a piece they take.
See, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I think the collegiate players for Marvel Rivals might actually be the smartest people on planet Earth. Because not only do they get a lot of money to go to a school to play Marvel Rivals, but they're also getting their studies done and they're doing what they love at the same time. I went to college way too late.
Yeah, should have gone when you could have been playing that Venom and ranked and getting paid for it. Get yourself a scholarship for that.
What am I doing?
Yeah, what are you doing over here? Well, now you gotta be making that esports money on the other side, yapping over the future professionals, showing you how it's done.
That's right, but we're not the stars of the show here. The Venom that we maybe will be able to see in these games could be, but that's up to UF Blue or Winthrop Academy Garnet to rock out here. Both these teams have had an interesting history so far. It's pretty early into the season, but Winthrop, they're coming into this completely flawless.
Yeah, and I can see why, because one of the names that you don't see directly down below me, you got their roster there, Naizu, Yoshi, Gregory House, Stingbee, Rin, and Prince Ale. One name you don't see there is Kaluge, and that is their coach, and you might have heard that name as the star tank player from Envy, one of the best Doctor Stranges in the game. For Winthrop Academy Garnet, I expect their Vanguard play with that level of coaching to be absolutely immaculate, and very well might have been what's gotten them this far.
Yeah, and look at this first map. We have the Celestial Husk coming back out. Now, going back briefly to what you just mentioned, right? You have Kaluge helping out with the Vanguard plays. That requires so much game sense. Like, you need to have such a gigantic brain, the macro, to see what the big picture of the battlefield is. It's pretty much taking like a military tactics class in college to figure out how to play a Vanguard. And yet, here you are now understanding that bigger picture while being studious in college. That might be one of the biggest advantages you could possibly have.
It's not even just like you have to like know it, like you literally just have to know it because you are the front line. You can't see what's happening behind you, and trust me, as a strategist player, there's 1,000 things happening behind you. Please, for the love of God, turn around, Doctor Strange. I need your help so bad right now. Please get the Spider-Man off of me, as I say several thousand times a day.
But
I said Doctor Strange. If I had said Venom, that would have been a call-out post.
I don't play shields.
Yeah, I was tempted to say Venom, but I was like, I don't want this to be a call-out post. I'm going to go for one of the tanks that I know you don't play.
You can Google Doc me. I don't mind. You know what? That's fine, though, because we will see whether or not we do have shield tanks, and I'd be surprised if we don't. I just want Venom.
You very well might get him. He's in a pretty strong spot right now, but I do also kind of want to highlight, by the way, as we're going to burn into T'Challa, which is going to be our first map on Domination. As we take a look over at the UF Blue side, we talk a lot about Vanguards. I kind of want to talk about Duelists because we asked these players to tell us, their roles, a little bit about themselves. One thing that stood out to me was that both of their Duelist players listed their position actually as Duelist/Flex Strategist, which tells me that this team is tapped into the way that things are going in the pro scene, and they are going to be flexible. There's probably going to be some of that triple strategist chicanery that I know is very polarizing, but also very popular in the Marvel Rivals landscape these days.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the polarity is going to look like between these different teams. I think having more flexible players, the better. It's more that you have to digest in the game, but it makes counterplay potential off of Winthrop pretty difficult. As we get into the picks and bans, though, UF Blue, they are not coming into this match flawless like Winthrop. They did lose their first game, but it did go all the way to game number 5, and they lost by a single map. UF Blue, they've had a week, though, to maybe bring things back, CB. This is their chance now with the beginning of their picks and bans.
Yeah, and part of being a flexible team is being an adaptable team. And speaking of these picks and bans, I believe this is the MRC ban. So the bans are going to be universal. So you see the Star-Lord ban and you see the Human Torch ban. That's universal. That means nobody gets to have fun with Peter Quill or Johnny Storm today.
You know, I just watched the Fantastic Four movie the other day. Gotta say, Human Torch was okay in that movie. Probably my least favorite.
I heard he doesn't even say the words flame on, which I was thinking about. It's weird that he doesn't say it in the game either as like his ult line. Like I get his ult is called Supernova, and it makes sense for him to yell Supernova, but you know, when it's the friendly one, he says, "I'm bright like a star." Why does he not say flame on there? Like that would make so much more sense.
Who sings those lyrics? Shine bright like a diamond.
That's Rihanna.
Yeah,
That's Rihanna.
Okay, so he's Rihanna.
Yeah, he's basically Rihanna in that he's not in the game currently. We got Ultron and Phoenix, though, who more than likely will be in the game, and I like what I'm seeing immediately in the picks and bans from Winthrop Academy. Not to glaze Kaluge too much while he's not even here, but it's the signs of a well-coached team to take out, you know, the Human Torch and to go for the Mantis and the Ultron Protect as well. Ultron is, you know, if you're not quite as tapped in, he's also pretty strong. He can rain terror from the skies. Imagine a hit scan and a flyer all rolled into one, and you got your AI overlord over there.
We are massacring the strategists in these bans. Say goodbye to Mantis. Say goodbye to Jeff. A lot of the backline potential to give, you know, inherent boosts to your team, whether it be speed or damage, or I suppose with Mantis even HP, are completely gone. But we do have a Venom!
We're gonna get to see your boy, like you called him your Blue Daddy. We're gonna get to see him.
Blue
it's gonna
Daddy!
Be fun. What's interesting is that we get him protected after a Jeff ban, so you know, we do have that symbiote.
That is weird.
Yeah, we have that symbiote shenanigans team up that's not going to be leveraged. Another thing that, you know, some people who might be joining us back in the Rivals landscape for the first time after being away for a while might be curious about. Jeff is actually pretty strong right now. Go figure. You know, if you would have told me that about a year ago, I'd have slapped you in the face. Also, I don't think the game would have been out by then. But you know who is in the game now? Angela, and she is also going to be protected. That's a really interesting one, I think.
Angela is so annoying to play against in domination. She's just so good about dividing out the back lines, which does enable Jeff and Mantis to be very strong. But with your Luna gone too, you are very much leveraged against what kind of strategist you're able to play. You're looking at maybe Invisible Woman, you have maybe the Cloak and Dagger to work off of, and yeah, I suppose the Loki as well. But with an Angela on board, it's pretty good to snipe them away.
Hawkeye ban is an interesting final one. Yeah, I think that just kind of like, to me, that just kind of strikes me as a throwaway ban because you're protecting the Phoenix, so you're going to play a hit scan. So why protect one and then ban another? I think that seems a little bit weird. We'll see what it is that they're actually cooking, or maybe, you know, later on, maybe we'll see what it is that they're actually afraid of. But I think, you know, Hawkeye coming through as the last ban doesn't really, you know, strike me as the most impactful of the bans. But up until that point, a lot of different things happening there and a lot of different playstyles unlocking there, and also a couple being shut down. The Mantis ban, I think, is going to be huge. The Jeff ban, I think, is going to be interesting. But I want to see what comes of this Angela Protect specifically, because I think that's going to be the most interesting thing, you know.
I think the biggest onus is going to come down to the Vanguards in this matchup. We've seen a litany of bans against the strategist overall, and Double Ultron will be available, but as long as we have our Vanguards stay afloat and the strategist can have a little egg of protection, they will never be afraid of those bans that were applied to them.
Something I'm going to want to highlight here is, you know, we got the 2-2-2 on both sides, neither team going for the triple strategist, at least just yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Invis Woman and Loki on one side. Invis Woman is kind of in a real strong place right now. We're seeing a lot more of her, and we're seeing UF Blue going for a kidnap play over here. Oh, this might be juicy. Keep a close eye on where NECC drops this portal.
This is gonna hurt.
Goofy laying down the traps already. Right from behind, though, it's the doppelgangers. One has been annihilated immediately, and NECC is attempting to make his way in. But from behind, down below, dividing out the entirety of Winthrop, it isn't a surprise attack. Even though the mission area only unlocks now, this is a chance for Winthrop to open things up. They have the full site at their control. The shields are breaking, though, and despite the portal coming out, it may have been a few seconds too late.
Yeah, and now you got Naizu just swooping on in on that Angela. Something she's great at is just taking another Vanguard and just separating them from the pack and making it so difficult for them to get any sort of resources. And as Winthrop get first cap, they also have Gregory playing up over on an off angle, so it's so difficult for UF Blue to even walk up now. And like you said, they snuck in from behind. They flipped the point. Well, now their Vanguard line is cut off from the rest of the team completely.
And they're going to have to get that point pretty soon, too. If they have to go for a last-minute portal towards the end of this domination round, they're going to have to buy a lot of bit of time here. Naizu's keeping things afloat, though. Dr. Gregory House, his prognosis, looking to find a way to annihilate this Emma. But unfortunately, no. Goofy's good to stay alive. All the while, though, it's going to be Ultron's rage raging from above. It's a descending down right away, but even then, Cloak and Dagger's going to help make sure that's not going to be a possibility. That's an ult for pretty much nothing.
And Rin's going to go ahead and answer with that invisible boundary, so Winthrop are going to keep the momentum in their favor, and Naizu finds another one with the UF Crux. We're going to see the mirrored invisible boundary from Fifi Coffee, but it's too little, too late, day late, dollar short, and Yoshi with the Meteor M, not going to find pay dirt, and that's an opportunity for UF Blue to try and bounce back here.
Psionic Seduction's out now. All the while, these strategists have remained to be safe. Oh, that's a good one! Sending everybody back. Winthrop Academy have been able to control the space so well on this point. All the while, though, separating out this Cloak and Dagger, annihilating her away. It's 1v1s over and over, and UF Blue have been completely disassembled.
But I do like that they managed to hold on to the Meteor M and the Unsung Inferno from Nate Step, so they might be able to go for a nice little 1-2 wombo combo here, but the window of opportunity for that is rapidly closing as you only have about 12 seconds left to get yourself back on the point to even get a contest going here. You're going to have to worry about a big whale coming down from Gregory House here. Also, a Rage of Ultron potentially coming online as well, so Winthrop Academy, while they're not the most impactful ultimates, there's something that they can at least use to slow the pace.
And there's certainly no time for a portal anymore. This is a now or never moment for UF Blue. Their chance to get back onto the platform and maybe get a single percentage. But over time dwindles away. And unfortunately, it was a 1v6. All of UF Blue not playing together necessarily as a team. They faced a lot of 1v6s.
Yeah, sometimes domination is just a little bit weird in the ways that it shakes out. You know, it's not always going to be, it's not always going to go your way right out the gate. So maybe you just write off the Imperial Institute and try and play for Warrior Falls. That ult combination with the Meteor M and the Unsung Inferno I called out is still in the field for UF Blue, and luckily they, you know, I mean, I think it would have been pretty dumb to try and blow it there in what was essentially a losing fight, but they do still have it. They can bring it to the dance floor this time around, and it's looking kind of scarce over on the other side for Winthrop Academy. That said, in the neutral, you're seeing so much value coming out from this Namor. Just the Tridents finding their mark time and time again. He's building up to those Horned Proteuses over and over again. Now actually going to make the swap over to the Psylocke, and I'm eager to see what happens as we go forward. And by the way, just, you know, I'm seeing what you're seeing right now, and I'm sure everyone else is fixated on that straight 0 line down on the red half of things. No deaths for Winthrop Academy whatsoever.
It's like looking like binary code over there for UF Blue right now. They're going to have to find a way to get some ones on the board to make things a little bit more unitary. Though, you did mention that Meteor M is on the board. We'll have to see if UF Blue can maybe find an application for it. Rage of Ultron is available now by Stingbee. Ultimates have been good for Winthrop Academy, Garnet's side, but it hasn't been the playmaker that's been needed of, unlike UF Blue. That being said, though, finally, instead of a portal trick play that did delay things a bit to get onto the site, we finally see UF Blue on the point itself. This is their chance to have themselves early control, but Rage of Ultron comes out at the perfect time. Rin falls immediately, and it forces out the Cloak and Dagger. Oh no. Is that going to be enough? Was it forced too early?
It might have been. UF Crux going to be able to take a nice shot there with the Rata Stern coming down, taking down Prince Ale. Nate Step does fall, so it's traded out, but at the very least, UF Blue are on the board. If they can find one more KO here, they should be able to stabilize here. We see Stingbee, getting caught out there. Might actually get taken down if UF Crux can find one more shot there. Got the moves, and we got Naizu coming in with the peel, and piercing nearly puts UF Crux up against the wall. Stingbee going to find the KO, though.
Gregory House has realized that bringing out Psylocke and trying to eliminate the back line's not going to be the option here. The win condition is to hemorrhage out UF Blue's front line once again. Mikhail falls, and so does the Bucky earlier on. And that's going to enable Winthrop to capture the point yet again. Gregory House has to stay on point.
And not only that, but Winthrop Academy, they're doing it completely neutral, just like I said. So they're going to have essentially all their ultimates going into this next fight. And even though UF Blue haven't been forced to use theirs, it's going to be a bloody fight this next one, and it's one that they have to win. And also have to win economically. They can't risk going all in this early on, because they still have to go for another about 80%.
You're right. They're going to have to play the ult game very carefully here. CB, we got to get our lungs ready. 88% now. The psionic seduction will be coming out soon, but NECC does get at least one. It's gonna be Old City, population 12, and a massacre everywhere. And yet all the while, only are we seeing eliminations go to 1. It's gonna be the Emma Frost to go down. Meteor M does get deployed, and that's gonna be Crux to fall. But all the while, not a lot of ultimates brought out from UF Blue, but they are losing ground fast. They've gained 5 out of 6. We saw the invisible boundary applied. But once again, Winthrop Academy are just not able to play off each other.
Yeah, Winthrop Academy, they were able to hold on to all of their strategist ultimates here. So like you said, UF Blue don't use a whole lot of theirs. That's fine. Winthrop Academy can spend whatever they want as long as they hold on to the big money ones. With that double strategist ult backline with Prince Ale and Rin, they can at the very least ensure Winthrop Academy gets this to 99. Basically for free. Like, there's not really anything UF Blue can do unless they're able to get a good combination with the End Song Inferno to burst through the damage. Psionic Seduction is gonna come out, but you're gonna need some follow-through.
Oh, no. How does Sting live? He hides in a corner right up above. Very great placements overall. All the ults are coming out at once. It's a moment of desperation for UF Blue. Oh, but as I say that, though, one by one, each member are falling, starting with the Vanguards, leading into the Duelists. And it only leaves the strategist to survive. But they were just walking out of the spawn zone. 95%. A desperation portal, maybe? There's no way.
Oh, nope. It gets canceled by Naizu. Flies in with the shot there. Takes down, doesn't take down Michael Z, but just displaces, cancels the portal, and it's never going to come out. And that's about as clean as you can get for Winthrop Academy. I'm pretty sure we had single-digit elims on the side of UF Blue. They never really seemingly, like you said, were able to play off of each other. They never really got their feet underneath them, and even when they were coming into an ultimate advantage, Winthrop Academy are very well coached when it comes to this. They hold on to the right ultimates at the right time, so they know when the next fight happens, they're ready for that one too.
And you said it yourself earlier on, you know, that's just a domination moment. You could have the best team in the world, but sometimes it just doesn't go your way. The trap play that we saw right at the beginning of point 1 from UF Blue was such a cool idea, and it could have worked so well, but just a small mistiming of a play like that can set yourself back the entirety of a domination round.
And I want to go back to something else that I said earlier, which was that the Angela Protect, I think, was going to be the most consequential, and I think in the grand scheme of things it was, because UF Blue, part of the reason they couldn't ever get their feet underneath him is because they never really knew what to do about this Naizu problem. Like, where's he flying around? What's he doing? Where is this, where is she? You know, it's one of those things where, like, people don't really know Angela's strength and how good she actually is because she kind of fills a certain niche, but it's one that Winthrop Academy are tapped into, and UF Blue are a little bit late to the party to catch on to. And that's at the very least going to cost them domination. And if they don't try to play for the bans in the future, might cost them more.
Yeah, very much so. Maybe we'll see some more Angela bans in the future. That being said, though, I was a little surprised we didn't see a lot of duelist counterplay coming out from UF Blue's side. The biggest consequence we saw was the swap over to the Winter Soldier, and it did change things going into point 2, but it wasn't enough to really be the big win condition change that was necessary for UF.
I'm actually glad you called that out because that's also something I wanted to highlight. Yeah, no, that's a real good shout with the Bucky, especially playing into a Loki because it's so easy to get those resets off the crack and impact. But the problem I think was, again, it kind of came a little bit too late and you weren't really able to parlay that into much of anything. You know, I think we saw the crack and impact come out at one point in time, but the rest of the team just wasn't in any position to sort of follow up. You know, FU Crux was just kind of like, you know, just throwing it at the wall to see what sticks, you know, throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if it was done.
Yeah.
Nah, that needed to boil on the pot a few more minutes, homie.
Yeah, I mean, look, some people like El Dente spaghetti. I'm an El Dente enjoyer, but I understand that maybe you need to have something much more slippery and much more fluid to be able to win out a matchup like this. But that's okay, though, because we will be moving on to the next matchup. We are going away, of course, from domination. We're going to Central Park. We're going to New York. That is not the UF or Winthrop territory.
Yeah, no home field advantage for either of these people, although I don't think they were from Wakanda either, so we still didn't, we didn't have that on, there's no Wakanda Academy. I think, you know, most of these are North American teams. I don't know if we have any. You can get a scholarship to a Wakanda Academy. I'd be up for it. I'd be up to go play esports. We could be professors, actually, even for Wakanda Academy. Might... Anyway, before we get too far on that tangent, we're going to have so many more of those, I'm sure. Central Park, I think, we might want to see that Angela banned out again. It's not, again, a map where I think she can be as strong as she is on domination, but it can be really annoying just trying to go for that first point walk up on attack and just keep getting split off. I also think for both sides, we're probably going to see Human Torch taken off the field immediately again.
Yeah, there's no way Human Torch. I think a lot of Flyers are just going to get destroyed in the bans here. It was strategists for the first game. This time around, like you mentioned, CB, perfectly spot on. That's the Human Torch gone. I'm imagining Star-Lord might be the hard ban here for UF Blue again. Question mark?
Well, we got about 10 seconds to find out. I mean, so to kind of give you, there you go. Yep, yeah. So kind of mirroring what we already saw in the previous one. I'm curious what their protect is going to be, though, this time around. As last time it was, what was it that they protected last time? I've immediately...
It was Ultron.
It was Winthrop that protected the Ultron.
Oh, I thought you were asking for Winthrop.
No, but it's going to be a Luna Snow Protect, and I do kind of like that. You know, it does ensure that you have access to, good old faithful, one of the best strategists in the game. Although I'll say she's kind of fallen out of favor in favor of the Invisible Woman and the utility that she can bring lately. And there's an interesting thing, by the way. Remember when I said we got to try and ban that Angela? Winthrop Academy wastes no time going for the Protect, though. UF Blue try to make that Star-Lord happen, and Winthrop said, all right, well, you left her on the field, we'll take her.
Now, riddle me this, on Domination, we never saw the Venom come out despite it being protected by UF Blue. I don't think Venom's that great on Dom. Like, he can be if you have a very dive-heavy team, and you have a team confident enough to get enough eliminations to take that point back by force. But the fact that we saw the reserve come out for the Venom, not really much impact. Winthrop are thinking ahead, realizing how strong the Angela pick was, making sure Venom cannot have that same impact, and just getting rid of him completely.
And part of the reason I think why it didn't come out, though, is, again, because of that Angela, because a Venom isn't really there to peel for you. And I think, with this Angela being a nuisance in the backline, you're not going to ask your Venom to turn around to try and help you. So they were playing some of these Vanguards that they felt could be a little bit better at trying to deal with it, trying to switch to the Bucky, to the Emma Frost. Like, they were really investing all they could into trying to shut that Angela down. And they're gonna have to do it again. I kind of like the Mantis Protect, because at the very least you can either go for the damage boost on one side, or you can maybe try and hold your sleeps to deal with the Angela. There's options there. It's not, it's not 100%, but Mantis is still also in a really strong spot. So regardless of your modality for it, pretty strong protect.
Biggest ban I think we've seen so far from UF Blue is going to be that Namor. That was the strongest factor besides the Angela for Winthrop's side. Gregory House was the doctor and the cure when it came to getting all the points with Namor. It was unbelievable.
And he did it without the Hulk team up too, which, by the way, is going to be going away at season 4.5. So be on the lookout for that. Also be on the lookout for some Jeff shenanigans. Again, I mean, we got the opposite side. Last time we had the Jeff ban Venom Protect. Now we got the Jeff Protect Venom ban. We're not seeing symbiote shenanigans, but we are seeing, two sides of that coin, just albeit split apart.
It's going to be interesting. Domination, very much Vanguard favored. We're heading over to Convergence now. That's going to be a lot more strategist favored. So we are seeing a lot more protects of, say, the Jeff and the Mantis. That's going to make the backline incredibly strong this time around. The Angela, once again, was very big on Dom. I think now you have to double up her efforts if you're Winthrop on this side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Winthrop comes out with, because the Angela and the Jeff, I think, does make for a pretty coherent strategy. They're going to be coming out on attack at the very least, so we might not see it unleashed to its full potential until we switch sides on defense, but nevertheless, they're still going to walk out with it. On the other side, UF Blue, here's something else that I like. A triple strategist with the Mantis and the Groot. This one can either, it could be a blessing or it could be a curse. You're going to have a lot of healing, you're going to have a lot of utility, you can damage boost UF Crux and get a lot of value out of that. You're also going to get the heal wall for the Groot. But that said, that is a lot of healing, and it's going to be spread kind of thin, so it might be difficult to actually build up to these strategist ults.
I'm really curious to see how Naizu's going to play into Goofy's walls. Is the recall value off of the Angela going to be more difficult because of the walls? Or is the walls of the Groot going to be so aggressive defensively? Is that going to isolate the Vanguard himself? We'll have to wait and see, though. Early walls are out, and Goofy does get the opening pick of this game. That will be the Magneto gone, and we do see the recall from Angela. Not going to be as bad as I thought it would be, but look at this potential deep dive.
Yeah, Naizu's got the angle and knows exactly where the backline's going to be waiting, and no one can really do a thing about it. And there's also, like you said, all those holes in the castle wall. Like, the reset for her is so easy. Like, Naizu can just get back to the rest of the team with relative ease here. The shield breaks, though, and you can already see he's flying back, ready to go. Doesn't really have to worry too much, and Cruxy to take out Stingbee, though. Again, UF Blue finding an opening pick and able to hold Winthrop Academy at the door and stop them before they're able to get up to whatever tricks they're planning.
You know, no one ever talks about how terrible this castle is at fortification. There's a giant hole in it. It didn't protect anybody.
It's always rearranging, too. Like, who built this?
How does it transform?
This is what I get for paying vampire contractors. Like, come on now.
They only work at night. Whatever, man.
And you have to invite them in. You already gotta have a building in the first place.
And they wanted my blood? Oh, they're asking way too much out of me. Luckily, though, Moon Knight is not a vampire, but he can take the souls away from the enemy team. All the while, though, not going to quite work out well for him. Gregory House cannot use his Namor. He's forced to bring out the Moon Knight. Gets eliminated as soon as the ult found no value. UF Blue are doing a very good job on this defense.
Yeah, and remember what I said earlier about having some difficulty building up to the strategist ults? Well, enough time has passed that they've managed to get all three of them anyway, so UF Blue can continue to bleed this time bank out and force Winthrop Academy to try and play for an OT push again, unless Winthrop are able to find a big burst combo. And they do have the Meteor M and they do have the Endsong Inferno. They can use either of those to set up or to detonate whatever combination they want to go for, but they're going to have to try and make a move sooner rather than later, because it's going to be a long fight no matter what.
Well, CB, I won't say it's a now or never moment. Still 2 minutes left on the clock, but this is going to be a potential major turning point in how this convergence side will go. There's 6 ults on the board for Winthrop. Not as many players, though, alive. It's going to be a complete shutdown for UF Blue. Before the ults even had a chance to be in position to be used, UF Blue has just annihilated Winthrop Academy's push.
It's such a good heads-up play from Nate Step 2 to just pop that Soul Resurgence and say, let's go aggro with this. And as long as they find the KO onto Yoshi, which they do, they get all the bang for the buck they could possibly want. And they're about to build up against that Strangling Prison to get themselves back up to a 5-ult bank to match Winthrop's 6. So you take that and you get essentially a minute off the time bank. That's value, that's ult usage, and that is a great play from the calling from Winthrop Academy.
Oh, Winthrop's setting up for it, though. They're ready for the siege once again. No horses, no Trojans allowed. It's straight into the barrier itself. There it is, the beginning. Nizu on top, having everything. Whoa, it is a blender of 3 ultimates in one. An absolute frenzy. Everything from Winthrop has been destroyed at once. And all the while, was that one player eliminated? Now, no, just one UF Blue player eliminated in the entire ordeal. Make that 2 with Anomalous gone. And all the while, 30 seconds are left. All this time for stalling and build-up from Winthrop to use every single ultimate, and not even a single slice of the 3 pies on the board have been brought out for this defense.
Both teams, though, making the swap to the Doctor Strange, and we've got a pause. The match will resume shortly, but yeah, I mean, like you said, like a lot expended for the side of Winthrop Academy to not even be able to get that first tick, and something that we saw was Anomalous on one side making the swap over to the Doctor Strange, Nizu on the other side going to mirror it. So again, this is going to be a very long drawn-out fight that's about to come out. But have a look at the ults. There's not one on the board, but Gregory is nearing that hand of Khonshu. This needs to be the kill shot for Winthrop Academy. But as you see the teleport come through, UF Blue are going to get the reinforcements on the front line, and with the Soul Resurgence now coming out, it's going to be a lot to burst through. I don't even know if Khonshu can do it.
Yeah, I don't think no god can stop this defense. It's not the castle, it's the team, it's the warriors. They're able to keep things going. One final attempt now from Winthrop to push on through and get this convoy going. Can they do it, though? The answer could lie in Gregory House, but unfortunately that won't be the case. He's not long for this world. The overtime is ticking away. 2 players make that 3 now for Winthrop, are available onside the point, hoping to dwindle away and wait for reinforcements, but they may never come, as overtime dwindles out.
What's interesting, by the way, you know, I was looking at the HUD there for Nizu, who made the swap over to the Doctor Strange, but he didn't actually use the portal to get on. He walked the whole way back. He was trying to hold on to that portal to go for another fight if Winthrop Academy didn't end up winning that one. But the problem was, yeah, he was also the last man standing on the point. And if you're the last one standing, you can't keep the point in contention. You're not going to ever get an opportunity to use that portal at all. So Winthrop Academy, they get a little bit hesitant there, try and go for this play that just never really comes to fruition. And UF Blue have essentially an ironclad defense. Every time Winthrop Academy step up a 6, they knock them down to 5, and then suddenly, you know, what do? You know, your strategy is whatever. You know, you're always down a man. Everyone's got a plan so you get punched in the mouth.
That's true. I hate it when I get punched in the mouth.
All my strategies, they go out the window.
Yeah, I know. My brain just can't think no more. I don't know what happened, but I do want to give some potentially bad news, though, CB. If Winthrop can't win this side, this will be their first map loss in the entire season.
I mean, I think that's bad news if you're a Winthrop Academy fan, but I think it's good news if you're a fan of Marvel Rivals Esports, because that means we're gonna get to see a little bit more in this series. I'd like to see it, and I would also, like to see if maybe they can pull out the draw, because it is still drawable, and that wouldn't be a map loss. So technically, they would still have an immaculate record.
All right, double shields are out now. This will be a battle of inches. Who can take more distance? Early portal. Okay.
Interesting.
I like this positioning. We saw the UF portal similar to this back on Domination last map, and it didn't go too well, but the timing's on his side.
It does completely negate the high ground, so Gregory's not going to be able to just have free reign from the high ground with that Phoenix, and it also forces some weird rotations around from Winthrop Academy as they have to try and adjust to UF Blue already taking all of this space. They're not exactly on the point right now, but they've got control over everything that overlooks it right now, and they've got Naizu down to no HP. The healing is there, so Winthrop Academy's still going to be able to hold strong, but it's not where they want to be. They are not at all comfortable.
UF Blue had the chance to sever out that forwards attack to the stalwart defense inside the point, but that is certainly not the case. All the while, though, you're right, this is a very weird attack overall. The positioning for Winthrop is awkward, but they're making it work, and UF Blue, they're forced to retreat.
Maelstrom of Madness is going to pop, take down Naizu, but that's your Doctor Strange. First to die means you will get the teleport, but it means you won't have it if we get into these later innings and you have to try and go for a contest. So that's a huge KO to find early on.
What does Jeff find? Nothing at all, and that's going to be Prince Ale gone.
Naizu again opting not to use the Strange TP, and we're seeing Stingby pop that Soul Resurgence, or rather, no, it was NateStep popping the Soul Resurgence, and again, that's the go button for UF Blue, and nice sleep there onto Naizu, all alone, once again, on that Doctor Strange, but there's no one healing up Stephen Strange right now. His hands are still shattered, and NateStep is going to lead the charge as UF Blue will even this up. It's the first map loss for Winthrop Academy, and it's going to tie us up 1-1.
I really want to see the stats overall for UF Blue because we talked about how the strategists were going to be so important going into this matchup, and I think NateStep showed that off perfectly. Yes, MVP goes to Goofy, but Mantis having that control of not only powering up the people necessary to get those opening picks, but just the consistency of the heals. 20 assists is pretty dang good.
Yeah, 20 assists and also 6 final hits. Like, that ain't bad for a Mantis. When you can dish out the damage, when you can dish out the damage amps, and keep pace with the rest of your team, and also, from the looks of it, be the tip of the spear with those Soul Resurgences, that's the mark of a good player, that's the mark of a good leader, and I want to see NateStep keep that one going alongside UF Crux. You know, we talk about Goofy getting the 8 final hits, getting the MVP, but for my money, a lot of that was like the Maelstrom of Madness and a little bit of extra stray damage coming in at just the right time. I think we're seeing a lot of value coming out from this Phoenix pick and a lot of value coming out from the calls from UF Blue. Like I said, when I saw that their DPS both had themselves listed as duelist/strategist, I knew this was going to be a flexible and adaptable team that is going to be able to take different approaches. And I think this time around, they were the ones setting the tone. They were the ones dictating the pace, and it was Winthrop Academy that failed to adapt.
Now, I have a question for you. We saw how a lot of these games so far have been dictated sort of by the picks and bans. Are we going to see UF Blue's hard ban be Star-Lord, or is it going to finally be that Angela?
I think they've figured themselves out that they just need to try and, keep their cool, keep calm, and then they can deal with the Angela. They were able to get it done last time around. As long as they can find the picks and stop Angela from going in and trying to make a risky play when the rest of the team is down a man, they're fine. They don't really need to worry too much about her. She's really strong at sectioning off and, isolating an opponent and then just, finding the dog pile on whoever she pulls out. But if you can stop that from happening, if you can sleep her, CC her, do anything you can to just try and stop her, or just play in a way that makes it so difficult for her to do that, you probably can stick with just going for the hard ban on the Star-Lord. For whatever reason you keep going for that ban, if that's something you're afraid of, maybe you should be, and maybe it works out if you keep going that way. Now,
reverse question. For Winthrop, are you going to look and ban the Mantis first?
I think you have to. Like I said, I think this is a well-coached team. You're going straight for the Human Torch bans, which, a lot of teams at the top were doing a little bit ago, but now Mantis is the first ban almost 100% of the time when you look at MRI right now. Most teams understand how strong Mantis can be, especially in triple strategist compositions. The things that she enables, especially with the Groot team up as well. That's another thing we touched on really briefly, but need to bring back into the equation. You know, there's just so many things that you just take off the table if you just ban the Mantis. And that's why at the top they do it. I think Winthrop need to try and pick up on that as well.
I think it was a very weird, I don't want to say error, but it was definitely maybe overconfidence not to ban out the Mantis in that matchup and not even bring out the Mantis themselves in the matchup at 2. But don't worry, there's plenty of time to think things over and see if the Mantis will return with us as we go to a small break. We have map 3 coming up very soon.
I wish we stayed the same. I got way too many thoughts in my brain, but I got memories that run through my veins. I'm not one to blame, but I could point out every way that you changed. Some things stay up while others go right down the drain. And lately we've been going down in flames. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the nirvana. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the nirvana. But if I'm my therapist is saying that I should. I don't believe it, but I really wish I could. Instead, I guess I'll stay misunderstood. Oh, 'cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out of I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the fun. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the fun. But if I'm
Division 2 continues to divide us on. We're heading into game number 3, and we've seen now 1-1 and a flawless streak broken. Winthrop is no longer going to be the team that's 100% CB.
But the question is, are they going to take it lying down, or are they going to roll over and just let UF Blue run away with this series? It could realistically go either way, as we've seen both teams make some weird adaptations that have paid off, I think, especially for UF Blue on Central Park. It was a great map pick. Was a great strategy. Now we're going to see Yggdrasil Path, and this is one that I'm really interested to see because, and again, Winthrop Academy, coached by Kaluge of Envy fame, this is one of Envy's best maps because they like to play that 3-3 line. A lot of teams, by the way, have picked up to this, the triple Vanguard, triple strategist on convoy going for the spawn holds. I want to see if Winthrop Academy go for it, and I also want to see what flavor of it they've go for, because I've also seen a couple teams come to the dance floor with Angela and play that triple Vanguard line, and I'm curious to see if they want to go that route. One of your questions from before the break just got answered, though, in record time.
Yup, I asked, okay, do we think Mantis will be the insta-ban for Winthrop Academy? But before the bans even came up, the Mantis icon was the first thing to load in. Star-Lord is going to be banned out again. I gotta say, I'm surprised because now Winthrop, if I'm them, I'm immediately locking in that Angela.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, like, you're probably okay with that. If you're UF Blue, maybe you're privy to it, though. Maybe you could go for a Protect on the Human Torch, though, and then you don't really have to worry as much about the Angela. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing, right, is, like, with these MRC bans, sure, you can go straight for the Mantis ban, but you've been going for that Torch ban every single time. You've already telegraphed that you're afraid of it. If you've got someone who can play Human Torch, yeah, go for it. Seize the day. Protect Human Torch. Take Johnny Scorn. Take to the skies, and rain hellfire from above.
I love Hellfire. We'll see, though, if we get to have it, though. Ultron was banned out back on Central Park. We did not get to see him rain terror on New York, but instead in Heaven. And so we saw how strong he was back on Domination. Rage of Ultron did shut down a lot of openings to attacks on UF Blue's side. This is going to be their opportunity to bring back the flying strategist, and I think it's playing into what you said, CB. We should be able to see that 3-3 comp.
Most likely, and it is also a good double dip because it's also one of the best things that you can do to try and keep a Human Torch in check. So you're making sure that at the very least you have an answer, whether that be the Ultron, and most likely it will be because you will be able to play that 3-3. You might still have access to like the Phoenix or the Hela if you want to go for either of those. Most likely it would be the Phoenix. You're not going to get to go back for the Namor. I kind of like that again because we saw, Gregory House just rain terror and rain whales from above on Bearded T'Challa with the Namor. But it's also, like, not the best on Yggdrasil Path, so I think a little bit more of a target ban rather than a strat ban.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, too, especially if we want to see more dive potential coming out from UF Blue's side. They don't want that shutdown potential with Namor and the Monstros. That being said, though, Cloak and Dagger has been protected after the Luna Snow ban from Winthrop, so they want to go for that same destruction side of the strategist not being as strong as usual. Winthrop will not be able to employ that strategy as well as they could have before. This final protect, though, will be interesting. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's got to be Angela, or you've already, like, not even if you don't play Angela, you have to protect it just so UF Blue knows your confidence is not shaken, right? You don't want to seem weak, right? Like, you don't want to be like, we're abandoning all ships. We give up on this Angela nonsense. It didn't work, You that's a power move, even if you don't use it.
Okay. Strong business sense from Winthrop. So what is this band going to be? Oh, it's an Emma.
That's okay, so maybe they do actually want to play the Angela because you're taking out, one of the best Vanguard counters for her. Emma just being able to go into Diamond form, be immune to the CC, can't get carried away by Angela. Good heads up play there. So I'm curious to see, though, on Winthrop's defense, are they going to play the Angela 3-3, or is this more for an attack-brained strategy that they're setting up? Or is it all bait, honestly? Because, sometimes with these okay, or you just don't ban. That also works too.
I don't. UF Blue has been using these last bans very weirdly the last 3 games. Because the first game, it was Hawkeye. I struggle to recall what the second one was. It was...
I mean, that basically amounts to a Hawkeye ban anyway.
Yeah,
like,
sure,
let's be real.
yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, no one's reaching for him either way.
Like, goodbye, Hawkeye. We hardly knew ye, and we probably never will in this series. But I gotta say, I think the way Winthrop has structured themselves in the picks and bans, once again, looks stronger than UF. But this is the opportunity now for UF to keep that streak going. They understand what the biggest win conditions are against Winthrop. We understand the strength of the Angela. The Mantis, which helped UF Blue get so much leverage early on in Game 2, is gone. Winthrop has everything they can to take this lead back.
So here's something interesting. UF Blue are going to be on first defense, and they're not actually opting for the 3-3. They're going to ditch one of the Vanguards and walk out with that Human Torch, like we saw them go for the Protect there. So already utilizing that first Protect, and it's going to be a good tool for trying to deny all of the area around the spawn, give UF Blue a bunch of extra space to try and play with. I'm curious to see what Winthrop Academy does about this. Prince Ale over there on the low key, and you're going to have Rin. Okay, maybe we are seeing the Hawkeye. Wait a minute.
Oh, Hawkeye had a heart attack and died and went to heaven. He got banned so hard Game 1, now he's here.
I was like, okay, so maybe that was a target ban back on Beard and T'Challa. Like, maybe we go back in time and they were just trying to specifically gut Gregory House, and it worked out so far. That's going to be another thing that's going to be trying to keep Nate Step in check, because you can see the Angela from Naizu always swooping in and just taking Nate Step out of his comfort zone, and then more arrow shots, ranging out, and there we go. It's going to be Crux that actually takes down the first one, but Gregory already making this Hawkeye pick felt.
I can't think of a better combo than Hugh Laurie and Jeremy Renner. Once again, Gregory House is Insano style. He's looking fantastic. That's point 1 right there.
Yeah, and UF Blue, like, I mean, they gave up so much space, like, right off the bat. They're not going to get an opportunity to go for a strange TP, so we're not going to see another contest here. They're just going to have to try and play for space, play for second. They're already, like, set up to try and go for an early hold here, but Naizu can just, displace someone, take a bunch of space for Winthrop, and force UF Blue even further back. And the more space that Naizu makes, the easier the shots for Gregory are going to be.
Yeah, exactly. You isolate out those 1v1s. As long as you play into the line of sight, that Naizu pushes people in. Rage of Ultron is out for CC, and the coverage as well. On top of that, these walls from Goofy are inadvertently saving Stingbai's life. He's giving himself so much extra coverage.
Rage of Ultron now going to come out from UF Crux just to try and take some of that space back. Gregory trying to lob those logs down range to see if we can maybe put this angry AI to bed, but not going to happen. But now we're going to answer with an ultimate of our own. He never misses, and indeed, the shot's ringing out, but with the shield there, Mikkel C might be able to hold on.
Yoshi is able to remove out this Ultron. That's going to be a great leverage to push things forward. The strategists are already falling on UF Blue's side. It's going to be potentially a desperation with this invisible boundary sooner rather than later. 4.5 minutes are left on the clock, and already taking the 1v1 out. That's Goofy gone. We're seeing UF Blue fall into the same domination trap as the start of this series. They're taking too many ones.
Yeah, Goofy, I mean, that wasn't really a 1v1. Homie got abducted and taken to a secondary location there by Naizu. You're never supposed to...
1v1s.
Yeah, like you said, it just forces the 1v1s. Naizu looking to try and take another one there, and is going to find Michael C. The bubble should be there, so this Magneto should be able to stabilize. But again, not sitting comfortably, and it's going to be more space amounted for Winthrop Academy.
So then who's going to save UF Blue from this Angela? It's the same question back on domination, and there still has not been an answer. Nate Step needs to be the one to, pun intended, step up. We saw the Mantis' strength back on Central Park, and yet now it seems like this Human Torch hasn't done a lot. There's so many ultimates everywhere directly on the convoy. Rage of Ultron is out on almost both sides, but as soon as Stingbai's goes away, UF Crux nearly has his set up. All the while, though, Winthrop Academy are slowly getting this convoy to push up, but they've just massacred UF Blue, and that should be securing point 2.
And it's a triple for Gregory at the tail end of that, and that last one was at point blank. He's looking for a fourth, but not going to find it, and UF Blue might still have an opportunity to go for a contest here, but a couple shots coming out into Nate Step. Oh my god, that's disgusting, Gregory. You can't show that on TV. No, you gotta go back, to spawn, buddy. Nate Step, try and take another crack at this one. Winthrop Academy are going to take point B easily, and they're going to keep investing. They want to try and snowball this into a full point C cap.
Now at this point, you have to wonder how the Flyers are going to find impact. Angela doesn't have as much space to divide up those 1v1s anymore. Nate Step 2, a very claustrophobic area, should struggle, but instead found success. That's Gregory gone. UF Blue have been waiting for this moment to use all their ults at once. A strangling imprisons out Meth with a supernova. It is a burning machine, and there's no survivors. Well, actually, everyone's all scarred and maimed, but no one actually fell to it.
Yeah, Prince Ale came through with the perfect God of Mischief, was able to get the duplicate onto Rin and get that Eternal Bond coming out, but now the KOs finally starting to ring out for UF Blue as McKelsey swapped over to that Doctor Strange, got a big Maelstrom of Madness and some extra daggers coming on through, and finally, UF Blue have put Winthrop Academy back in their place, albeit temporarily, and it took them everything to do it, and with just one ult, Winthrop Academy are able to hold on. Now they're going to be coming up on the other 5 that they can slap you right across the face with.
Yeah, Mikhail's probably feeling so good about having this Agamotto almost ready to go. Of course, he does get annihilated before it can reach 100%. But guess what? Even if you brought up that Agamotto, there's nearly 4 ults in return that could have taken him down in revenge. But there is space being created now by Winthrop Academy. This is good. Another elimination. Gregory House does not care, has no fortifications, and is leading the charge of annihilating each of these players of UF Blue one by one. In the spawn, once again, remnants of envy, you called it, CB. There's nowhere for anybody on UF's defense to go.
Oh, and that wall from Goofy kind of inadvertently sectioned McKelsey off from the rest of the team, and the arrow's just ringing out for free. Gregory House just has a shooting gallery right now. No one can touch him. No one can even try. No one can even look at them or risk losing their head. Fifi, I mean, you should have heeded my warning, dog. Gregory with another headshot there. Freedom Charge coming out from Yoshi as well. I have Agamotto, but no one is going to be around to follow up on that one, my friend. This is going to be a full cap for Winthrop Academy with 2:20 in the time bank. A blistering pace. They were knocked back at least once, but again, it took everything, and I mean everything, for UF Blue to even get that much.
I'm so glad you highlighted that, because that was an everything maneuver to give, 30 seconds off of Winthrop? I want to talk about Goofy for a second, though, because we saw how strong the group walls could be, how unique they were to be anti-flying capable, but all the while, that just allowed flying players like Stingbee to hide in those walls with Rage of Ultron and still take unorthodox picks away from their players.
And another thing I want to highlight as well is, again, we saw that Human Torch pick coming out from Nate Step. We're going to see it again on the attack, but it didn't really bear a lot of fruit on the defense, right? Like, as soon as they saw the Angela coming out and the Hawkeye, even with the Invis shields, Nate Step wasn't really able to, I don't want to say hold his ground because he's in the sky, but you know what I mean. Like, he can't hold the angles. He can't really he couldn't hold his air, yeah.
Oh, but Nate Step's not going to be a flyer anymore. He's swapping over to the Hela. So him with Hela alongside the Phoenix is not going to have the flying capabilities anymore. But Yoshi's wall might suffer a lot from just the sheer amount of damage that will be brought out.
Not nearly as much as UF Blue's backline's going to be suffering, because Winthrop Academy, just like I said, I predicted we're going to be seeing the triple strategist, triple Vanguard line with the Angela as well. So you have to deal with Naizu somehow. He's going to be swooping in again and trying to section off whether it's a Vanguard, whether it's a strategist, or maybe whether it's Nate Step. Maybe with just some raw damage they can try and put him back.
We'll have to wait and see how this plays out, though. Yoshi on the Groot has been doing a good job early on to hold some cover down, but again, UF Blue, they're the ones on the attack. They have to get rid of these walls immediately. All the while, though, Nate Step is struggling, and you're right, there's the triple strategist and the Vanguards. There's no players at all on Winthrop the two-shot, unless maybe you're Gregory not on the Groot and has to fend for themselves. But so far, no distance has been made, CB.
And here's another thing, they don't have any flankers in their composition right now. Nate Step is going to swap over onto the Moon Knight, but they don't have any way to deal with this BRB res from Gregory on the Rocket Raccoon, so even if you're able to find that one first frag, it's not going to be the opening that you want because it's going to get res right back up, and you keep losing members trying to find it. Stingy with a shot there onto UF Crux. Again, UF Blue shunted right back into the spawn. Even if you knock Naizu flat on his butt, you still can't find the KO off the back of it. You're not really going to be able to find anything with this.
UF Blue have been able to make some distance off of their ultimates, though. That's been a consistent factor of their team. Taking on the form of the Cloak and Dagger, Anomalous uses the Loki ultimate, the God of Mischief, to create some space off of Cloak and Dagger. Can that be enough? The answer is kind of. No. But you have another Cloak and Dagger ult, maybe. That could work.
And what about second Eternal Bond? Have we considered that one? I like the idea to use the first one literally just to take out the res beacon though. That's you know, it's a little unorthodox, but it works. But with that Meteor M coming out alongside Prince Ale just finding the cleanup damage, all the ults coming out from Winthrop Academy, and UF Blue forced back into their spawn. The Hand of Conjure from NECC doesn't find what you need, and without a Groot on your side, you can't really just lock the enemy team down and try and find that wombo combo that you really need. So UF Blue are still trying to adapt. They only have a solo Vanguard right now. McKelsey gonna swap over onto the Wolverine to try and do the same job that the Angela is doing on the other side, but I kind of feel like that's exactly what Naizu wants.
Oh, and I thought for sure we'd see the Eternal Bond right now, but instead it's an elimination against Fifi.
It's not coming out anytime soon. There's still a minute and 40 in the time bank, but it's a lot of time already bled off. You're with the Academy. Even if you lose this, you've already won, essentially, and they're not losing it anytime soon. Look at that ult bank. They're going to have another res beacon up soon as well, too.
I said it before, and now we're never...
No.
Oh, no, it was a tiny Meteor M. It wasn't even the ult that took down the Eternal Bond. What a great headshot coming out from the hands of UF Blue, but, excuse me, from the hands of Winthrop, but even then... All the while, it's just, the convoy hasn't moved. The engine's not turned on. And UF Blue have to make a major change once again. I think they have to go triple Vanguards.
Well, there's that first opening KO onto Naizu, and I think Naizu actually wasn't in range to get the BRB res, so that is going to be a final blow that is final. So UF Blue have an opportunity now. Winthrop has to try and lock it shut, and the Strangling Prison might be just how you do it.
All right, Strangling Prison met with the hands of an Eternal Bond once again. So many flying colors any which way you look. It's hard to keep track, but Yoshi can manage to do it. The wall divides out one of the strategists. That's going to be a very helpful elimination against Fifi. Oh my, though. Meteor M is met with the hands of Khonshu, though. And another strategist has been divided out into an involuntary 1v1. Another one. Surely. Surely. Oh.
Yeah, it ain't looking good for UF Blue. Last stand gonna come out from McKelsey. Takes down Yoshi. That's another one, but the res beacon, and it's right in front of the cart, too. So Groot is already literally right back into the fight on the front lines as we're gonna have the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier coming out, the damage amp for everyone on Winthrop Academy. And if you're UF Blue, you're running out of time, you're running out of options. You literally have no time left in the bank. You only have
Invisible
a Meteor
Boundary.
M. You have to do something.
You've got to bring out these ults right now. Invisible Boundary comes out. The Phoenix ult directly on top. Create as much space as humanly possible. Desperation is not even close to the word that's needed here for UF Blue. They've tied it up against the flawless team so far. They want to keep the streak going, but they're going to have to find some distance. And by that, every part of distance humanly possible. Anomalous brings out the boundary once again. Cloak and Dagger is gone. Finally now UF Blue have found success. They have the convoy control. Everyone on Winthrop are forced to run away. But it's overtime. And they're only beginning to get this convoy to move, CB.
And Yoshi's going to come out with a Doctor Strange, so we're going to see the TP play come out. Gregory's also going to be back with another BRB. And you've got the God of Mischief for Prince Ale. And UF Blue, again, they drain the coffers dry to even get that fight win. And now the next one is being delivered. Amazon Prime, next day air right to their doorstep.
It's never late. It's always at the right address. Prince LA, what can they do with this ultimate here? Can they bring out the God of Mischief? They go for Cloak and Dagger. Naizu brings out theirs as well. It's everywhere. No place is safe for UF Blue whatsoever. All of them are getting massacred one by one. But even then, they're still holding on tight. Still some convoy control. Crux is attempting to do everything to stall for time, get the respawns back over. But there's a sliver of overtime left. NECC's good for 2 off the Goddess of Death. And they still could continue to push.
At the start of that fight, Michael C goes in and takes down 2. So McKelsey is going to be huge on the Wolverine there and also finds the exit frag as well. That's the only reason UF Blue were able to hold on. They got a man advantage, but now there's one more opportunity for a touch here. Endsong Inferno from UF Crux going to come out, not going to find what it needs. Winthrop Academy able to weather the storm, and now the Meteor M. Don't know where that one was going, but yeah, it might be bringing the cart all the way as Nate Step's gonna find another one. Invisible Boundary as well. UF Blue want this cart and they want it bad.
It is a battle for point 1. 1 point needed for UF Blue. A portal's in the way. The goats don't want to go in. You cannot force them. And Gregory House is the doctor, and he's most certainly in. He is looking to find all the damage possible, but even doctors get put down. Winthrop cannot find a solution here. They're bringing their own 1v1s now. Captain America stalling for time. A battle of attrition. Who can be tired first? And yet, even then, an ultimate is out. It is simply not enough. UF Blue have chosen not to give in to this yet.
Freedom Charge finally going to be felled, and Goofy's going to find that KO onto Yoshi, and that should be enough. Stingy going to think better of trying to go in as the lone AI, the Ultron. Gonna tuck his tail and run, and UF Blue will get the first cap, but they had to fight tooth and nail for even that much. And again, it comes off the back of just one clutch play from NECC, who's making the swaps, being that spearhead, and still fighting them. Takes down Naizu, and UF Blue can snowball this. They can keep this momentum going. Goofy can walk up a little bit further, stuff Winthrop Academy a little bit further back, and make it all the more difficult for Gregory, who's now swapped over onto the Hawkeye, to have the shooting gallery that he so desperately wants.
I know, I love this adaptation from Gregory House, because the win condition now for Winthrop is that they need eliminations. They don't need to get damage, someone just needs to get the kill.
I have Agamotto coming out, but Rin is there with the Eternal Bond, gonna keep everybody nice and topped up. And he's gonna duplicate one from Prince Ale, but a good kidnap coming out from NECC.
Oh, kidnapping indeed. Pro kidnapping over here from the convoy end, but that being said though, it is an actual massacre once again. NECC and NECC though, they have stepped up their DPS game. They are doing such a great job. The duelists are looking fantastic. Rage of Ultron is out, and that was always an ace in the hole for Stingy. But even him, off of the hands of his most destructive features of Ultron, is forced to back away.
Visible Boundary comes out, but that's just to save Goofy. Once that expires, there's going to be hell to pay, and we're going to see the ult coming out from Naizu there. So much damage as well. We're going to have that Goddess of Death now going to come out from NECC, and Naizu doing all he can to try and block the damage. The AC-130 drones. It's a murder of crows, literally, as NECC has found two. And this might be enough for UF Blue to find point B, as Goofy is going to get two at the tail end of that. And this cart's going to keep on rolling, baby. We're going through onto point C.
UF Blue made such major changes, and they made it work. From having the keys not even into the ignition, which, with the goats, I don't think I want to know where that is, to Winthrop now not finding any success in that second point. They have made so many major changes. Gregory House goes back to the Moon Knight again. I don't know if I agree with this choice. I think that Winter Soldier could have been the best of both worlds.
Well, you gotta work with what you got. If you can get even one good teamfight win here, though, you can make the space to try and make this work. But NECC has been so good at denying that space and denying Naizu the angles that he wants to play at. You've seen the value from this Angela drop off dramatically once that cart got rolling. There's another good Pharaoh Leaf and the last stand, but the green's coming through. Everyone's going to be able to survive.
Pretty colors are everywhere, all the while, and Agamotto stops everyone in Winthrop in their tracks. Once again, not a single survivor on the convoy. UF Blue keep the train going.
Kelsey gonna be able to get out alive. There we go. Failure Leap just to be able to stabilize. And it's such a good play. You know, you use the last stand and you burn the regen domains. Also, they've got the strange TP. It's not gonna be enough to lock Winthrop Academy in their spawn. A little bit of a hole for them to sneak on out of, and a Freedom Charge going to roll out the red carpet. Winthrop Academy going to get themselves back on this card. They want to fight this one out.
Cannot forget about the fate of both worlds. Anomalous has brought out their own as well. Right after it all disappears, a world of blindness has gone through. Invisible Boundary, who should be able to give some extra leeway. Another Eternal Bond. Anywhere you go, it is just non-stop damage and heals at the same exact time. Gregory House falters once more. Naizu now no longer on the Angela. Has Dr. Strange to find the cleanse into a punch. And a melee secures things through. UF Blue have seemingly finally been stopped.
Yeah, but we're going to get one more fight that comes out for UF Blue. They're going to have that Goddess of Death again, so they might be able to just brute force this. They have to keep a lookout, though, for the Eye of Agamotto. Yeah, like you said, no Angela to stop it, but there is a Doctor Strange, and he's got a shield too, but he can't use the Eye of Agamotto and the shield at the same time, so he's going to have to make a choice. And NECC, taking down Stingy would have been a great way to make it for him. Unfortunately, going to be able to get out alive, so now we're going to see the Rage of Ultron coming out.
The pressure now of this final play comes down to Naizu. It was such a great Agamotto, but the Goddess of Death is the moment we've all been waiting for. They can barely see what's going on, but knows the objective. The shield remains strong. It remains steadfast. Everyone on Winthrop overextends, looking to find bodies of UF Blue to make sure they can continue their winning streak. Agamotto out of nowhere. Winthrop destroys UF Blue. And with two left, there's not a chance to get back onto the convoy. And Winthrop Academy take their lead back.
And whether he's on the Angela or the Doctor Strange, Naizu is the hero of that one for Winthrop Academy, because it was almost a fumbling of the bag after a full 4-minute spawn hold to end up that close to giving up the whole cap to UF Blue. That was a bit rough for Winthrop Academy, but Naizu ends up bailing them out. And like I said, you can't use the Eye of Agamotto and shield off the Goddess of Death at the same time. So what does Naizu do? He goes early and gets the best possible target for an Eye of Agamotto you can ask for, and that's the back line, taking down Fifi Coffee before they were able to build up to the invisible boundary. The one thing that could have prevented the Eye of Agamotto from finding any value. No, Naizu with the timing, and once that's done, all you got to do is just fly up and stop that Goddess of Death from being able to rain down, and you've essentially covered all your bases. One man shuts down all win conditions. Love to see it. Great stuff. But also got to call out the tenacity of UF Blue. For that 4-minute spawn hold to go into what we saw there, that takes grit. This is not a team that is going to go down quietly.
See, this is why I'm so glad I get to be here with you, CB, because all I saw was a flurry of colors and just pure adrenaline from all the players at once, right? And yet there's so many micro decisions and so many team-oriented decisions to not only have self-perseverance to keep yourself alive, but to make sure you're not even putting your teammates at a disadvantage, let alone putting them at an advantage in those split-second moments that's necessary to keep your entire team winning.
Yeah, especially when the teams are as evenly matched as this. And, coming out of domination, I don't know that we would have been saying that. Got a little bit more even on Central Park. Coming out of that 4-minute spawn hold, we might not have said that these teams are evenly matched. But you don't nearly give up the entirety of a cap like that unless your opponent is, unless they got their dance shoes on. And UF Blue absolutely do. They're up to the task. This is not a team to be taken lightly. They've taken a map off of one of the teams in this division that we perceive to be the best. And they almost took another one. Let's be realistic here. Had they gone for that full cap, sure, they would have been still behind the 8-ball time bank-wise, but there was still an opportunity, one that wasn't handed to them, one that they stood up, and one that they took for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, comparing Game 1 to Game 3, it has been night and day for UF Blue. Their adaptation has looked wonderful against Winthrop. And yeah, a lot of it did come down to the first few games for picks and bans. It felt like this time around, it wasn't necessarily a winner-decided pick and bans, even though it did have a lot of influence. It felt much more like there was a lot more individual counterplay in this matchup.
Absolutely, but I do also kind of want to highlight the picks and bans and the fact that, again, the Mantis got insta-banned by Winthrop, and that was Nate Stepp's best pick on Central Park, and it felt like the adaptations for UF Blue did take a while to come to fruition. Again, take nothing away from the tenacity of the grit, the resilience, the adaptations from this team, but it still was a process that had to play out rather than just being able to go onto that Mantis. Like I said, there's so many things that Mantis enables that having her in the fold means that you can just quickly make that swap to any number of things. There's like 100 different things you can do with her. As we reset the map pool, though, we're going to Hydra Charter Base. It's going to be Hell's Heaven back on domination. And I got to say, I don't know if I like UF Blue's odds on domination if history is to be believed.
I've been juggling this in the back of what's left of my brain to figure out, okay, what can UF Blue do here to beat Winthrop? I know that's such a basic question, but it's like, I don't think picks and bans will be enough. I think you have to have Mantis here if you're UF Blue. But I think I would try to recreate that Central Park hold on defense for UF if I'm them to have a chance of winning this.
I would say, yeah, like you have to try and make sure that Mantis gets through the ban phase. But of course, it's going to be one ban per side first. So you're not really going to get the opportunity to do that. If Winthrop want to go for that insta Mantis ban, they absolutely can. So the question is going to be, what do you do if you're UF Blue now? Like, how are you going to play these picks and bans? Do you try and go for an Angela ban? Or do you, again, try and keep the Star-Lord off the field? Because that has... it's had mixed results. Like, you could maybe just continue to try and keep that one going. But I think that kind of falls down the pecking order in terms of what Star-Lord is capable of. I think, the things you need to be looking at are the Angela, because even though you can adapt and you can take care of her, that takes time, and it's time that on a map like Domination you will not have.
And we've been very critical about UF Blue pretty much conceding their final bans. They haven't really been impactful at all. Though, to be fair, we did see the Hawkeye pop off on Winthrop, so maybe we were a little incorrect about that. But overall, I do want to see maybe that Star-Lord being the final ban, if anything, for UF Blue, and go for hard counter bans for their first two.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be having a substitution coming in on one side. We'll get a word from Prod on what that sub actually is once we get it all sorted out and ready to go. But You know, if you're trying to target ban Gregory, like you said, you know, listen, it's not every day you see a Hawkeye, all right? You see him a lot in ranked if people are just trying to deal with an Iron Man, but the plat strats don't always make it to organized play, all right? So you're not always expecting to see someone just frag out on Clint's, but happens here. And we've also seen him pop off on the Namor. So that's two ranged duelists that you potentially don't want to just let Gregory have access to, but the thing is, like, if you're just trying to pick around Gregory and ban around Gregory, you're neglecting the other 5 members of his team.
That's true. I will say, though, I was a little, we got some word about the substitution. Oh, interesting. But I want to go back and say that we didn't see as much impact on the Moon Knight the Moon Knight pick from Gregory House. I was expecting a little bit more, just given how strong he is, just on an individual level. Not quite the case that we had seen. I have a feeling that Namor will probably be the more steadfast pick here, as we saw him dominate on the last domination map. I don't think Winthrop's going to make many changes.
Oh, well, it's actually UF Blue, like you said, making the substitution. So they're making a major change, and one of them is that UF Crux is out. And UF Crux, especially on the Phoenix, I think was making a lot of the plays for UF Blue. We're going to see Danger come in to take up that mantle. I'm curious to see how this changes the calculus. I'm curious to see what is brought to the table here with this new addition, with this change up here. I'm curious as well to see what do we do differently from the last time we went around on domination, because like I said, it can be kind of a weird one from time to time. You know, like it's kind of an oddball in the sense that it can go like really one-sided, and then convergence not so much, and then convoy not so much, except kinda. Yggdrasil was also weird. It's been a weird series, but weird good.
I like weird. I mean, it's perfect for us. We're pretty weird people, and we like being weird. But and production's also weird. We heard that from the voice of God himself. And the Observer's weird. We heard that from also one of the disciples of God himself.
And chat, you're weird too. I've decreed it. I've diagnosed you with weird.
You're one of the disciples now. Congratulations. I gotta say, though, if UF Blue is going to make substitutions like this, my brain is thinking, and I don't have any insider info of UF Blue, that they might be one of those teams that has a general strat going into a round, and then obviously they'll calm, but they might not be going for micro plays to bounce off each other as, say, Winthrop has been. And that's where that Kaluge diff can come in from.
I think another thing I kind of want to highlight as well as it pertains to UF Blue is that some of their compositions I think have been a little bit lacking in beef, a little bit lacking in protein. You know what they could really do to try and make that up is they can get themselves some Wenzel's Farms protein sticks.
Where can I get those?
I don't actually know, but thank you to Wenzel's Farm. Nope, that's not where it comes. Well, it might, I assume. I don't actually know if it was beef. That was just a segue. I don't know if it's beef or if it's not. Okay, it is beef. What do you mean? Okay, so production.
Ooh, and venison.
Okay.
You get that straight from the deer.
Prod said some beef and some venison, and what he meant was some are beef, some are venison. I assumed he just meant there's some beef in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's probably a bunch of different things. I mean, look, if I could have the perfect beef stick, I would mix venison and beef together. I don't know that it isn't allowed. I don't know if there's any legislation against it. You absolutely can. I do it all the time. I be having like chicken and turkey. Well, that's like the whole point of a club sandwich. I don't know if I've ever mixed meats before.
Prod also just said meatballs. Like most meatballs that you get are a mixture of like pork and beef and and spices as well. Yeah,
well,
like
spice is not a meat.
Well, it's not, but it helps enhance the flavor, I'm just listing ingredients.
Oh.
There's pork, there's like beef.
Pork meatballs?
Yeah, there's pork meatballs.
Pork balls, huh?
Why do you look horrified at the idea of pork meatballs?
I don't know. I don't eat meatballs on the regular. I go to the store, I get ground beef. I don't know if there's pork in my ground beef now. That's why I only trust Wenzel's.
Okay. Well, they don't make meatballs as far as I know. They make delicious protein
protein our own
sticks.
Wenzel meatballs. We just buy the sticks and we crumple them up.
We can have the best meatball sub of all time. We just got to get some Wenzel's meat sticks, crumble them down, break them, mold them into meatballs, and then we get ourselves a meatball sub.
I just had a great idea. NECC LAN, Wenzel meatball food fight.
Is that just slapping each other with protein sticks?
Can we?
I don't think anyone can stop us, quite frankly.
I think this is awesome.
All right, you know what else is awesome is the pause is over. We're getting into the map here, and
man.
we're going to get some answers on our picks and bans. Sorry, no more meat stick talk. We're done killing
That's
time.
my favorite
It's
topic.
My favorite topic is Marvel Rivals, and let's talk about the Mantis ban coming through right out the gate from Winthrop Academy, going to continue their momentum from Yggdrasil Path, going right back to the same drawing board they drew from before. Star-Lord ban now from UF Blue. So far, no changes, and you're having a grand old time. Still thinking about...
They both got banned with slap with the meat sticks. That's why they're banned. Luna has been spared the meat stick.
All right, I'm going to take over for a second because you're having a moment and you're red as a tomato right now. You are red as a tomato right now.
I went out in the sun recently for the first time. Not a vampire.
We got the Ultron Protect again and the Luna Protect from UF Blue. So again, no deviation. And I'm curious again, do we see that Angela ban be reached for, or do we see, UF Blue again just try and make an adaptation?
Yeah, Winthrop, I think, has much more leverage here when it comes to bans over UF Blue. I think those are going to be much more regimented. Even though we did have a substitution, it was Crux that played a lot of the Phoenix. Winthrop still opts to ban out the Phoenix, probably to protect that Ultron.
Yeah. I also kind of, I saw that and I was like, UF Crux was kind of being the hero that they needed on the Phoenix over and over again. But now with that sub out, I think that might just be a safety ban. Phoenix is in a very strong state. I like the Wolverine Protect because, again, the tempo really changed. Everything kind of got flipped on its head when Mikkel C made the swap over onto the Wolverine. So if you either have him man that again, or if you have someone else on your team that can bring the Logan to the dance floor, you shouldn't have any problems dealing with that Angela, which you will have to deal with because, again, Winthrop has protected Angela.
That's right. So the Wolverines could be a very important pick. The Venom ban again? Okay. Interesting.
Okay, do we see the target ban onto the Hawkeye again this time, or do we potentially see them skip the ban altogether?
I hope they don't skip the ban, but what else was super strong? We could maybe see another Vanguard ban, maybe like a nondescript Emma. Oh, no, it is the Hawkeye ban.
So here's the interesting thing. Neither team touched Human Torch. I think neither team feels like he's either really strong or really necessary, at least in the sandbox that these two teams are playing in right now. So Mantis taking a higher priority for Winthrop now, and Star-Lord still taking a prio. And then basically just taking out everything that Gregory is strong at in the Namor and the Hawkeye.
No Groot's available either, so Mikhail won't have that hard counter against them. Naizu was hinting at the Black Panther. I don't think that'll be the case. Gregory House cannot play the Hawkeye or the Namor, so I feel like he's going to be significantly nerfed from this ban pick.
Here's something interesting that I think UF Blue can do, though, because you mentioned the Black Panther, and it just, unlocked another, neuron in me, because one of the most difficult things that you see, in fact, one of the reasons that Luna Snow often gets banned, is because of the ability to put the Snowflake on a flanker. And it essentially gives them, infinite HP. Anomalous is going to swap over onto the Jeff, so that kind of just, goes the other way. But I was almost thinking there for a second, you could just Snowflake Mikkel C, and then essentially just have a Wolverine with, again, infinite HP. He can constantly be a threat.
We'll see if that's a possibility here. Just a few seconds before the doors open up. Hell's Heaven is very, very momentum heavy, and we saw how late this opening portal was back over on Baron T'Challa. Same exact trap play as well. If this is going to be as delayed as it was the first time we had seen it in this series, and this time it looked a little bit better, but there was the push and a shove early on. It seems like the timing won't be nearly as off as it was before. That hurt the momentum of UF Blue so much. But finally now it seems like this is a good severance. The heads of the Hydra could very well come off now. It's just a matter of getting this opening pick.
Yeah, last time around they were only able to get a Loki clone. This time they only find the Force Physics. So diminishing returns on those portal plays. And in fact, they've nearly given up the point, but they're able to get it in contention at the very least. So Winthrop Academy don't have the control of the point just yet. A good kidnap there. Goofy nearly gets separated from the rest of the team, nearly gets felled, but will be able to get back and get the healing. And now you got Nate Step trying to take an angle here to shut down Stingy over there on that Ultron, they got angle right now that makes it so hard for these Vanguards to walk up. Gregory nearly gets kidnapped there as well. We'll be able to get out alive, but now UF Blue are on the hunt.
Now, Gregory House did tease us back on Yggdrasil about potentially seeing this Winter Soldier. Came out for a few seconds, immediately went back to the Moon Knight. Finally, now a headshot will show off what Gregory House can do. With the slaughter directly on Hell's Heaven, Rage of Ultron has been employed, but it's met directly, again, with the fate of both worlds on side of this Luna Snow. But even then, though, it's one by one, each of these members are falling. Winthrop almost able to capture the entirety of this first point, but UF Blue have been fighting so much more tooth and nail than they did in the entirety of their first dom.
Did Prince Alei's ultimate just get canceled? Did he just try to go for the God of Mischief and got canceled out of it? I
believe you're right.
I feel like I just heard that. Now, unfortunately for UF Blue, that's not going to be a full cancel, so he's still going to get 50% of that ult charge back, so we'll be able to build up to it. But unfortunately for Winthrop, it does mean they don't have their saving grace, and they can't try and go for the contest any longer, so they have to concede the point over to UF Blue, who are going to be coming up on a wealth of ultimates to be able to hold it with. Key, though, no strategist ultimates, as they use both of them to try and get the capture, though. So Winthrop Academy can potentially just burst through the Vanguard line, find an early frag, and take what's theirs.
Now remember, UF Blue are playing with a substitute. This is a brand new pacing difference from Winthrop. They have to get used to this again. Danger finally. Psionic Seduction is out. Anomalous and Nate Step are massacring Winthrop. They are finding so much control. And this is such an important point to hold.
Yeah, I like the pace change so far from UF Blue, and also getting the Emma Frost, this double shield front line, means that they can set the pace in a very different way. Mikkel C, by the way, has made the full-time swap off of the Vanguard line over onto the Duelist, so we can get full value out of this Wolverine pick, and it's paying off for UF Blue. It's given them half of the point per cap already, and they were able to do that with only the Psionic Seduction. Now is the map going to rearrange itself a little bit, the spawn going to be a little bit closer, the walk back for Winthrop not going to be quite as long. UF Blue, though, coming up with those strategist ultimates again. The window of opportunity might have already closed.
Oh, but let's see, though. 4 ultimates left outside of the Angelo one. That's going to be good to start off with. Goddess of Death available, though, as the counterplay. Invisible Boundary, making sure that we see a bunch of pretty colors, but no real damage should be able to come out. As I say that, though, Mikhail C has been taking a litany of damage off camera, but Gregory House and Stingby instead. Ultron turning into a duelist is able to find these eliminations. That was the big struggle of Winthrop for so long back in Yggdrasil. They got damage, but they couldn't find the elims, and Gregory House is the one to put the syringe in.
And another key thing, though, that opening frag that Winthrop Academy found at the beginning of that one was onto Anomalous, who was close to that Fate of Both Worlds. He's got it now, but it's a little bit too late, as UF Blue have to give up the point. Fortunately, 89%, so they only really have to win one more fight here. The problem, though, is you're going up against a Kraken Impact from Gregory, who can potentially get some resets and outpace the Fate of Both Worlds if it's not timed correctly, or could potentially even burst through it with a little bit of help from Stingby.
And depending on how long it takes for Winthrop to get up their timer, we'll have to wait and see if Goofy can bring out another Doctor Strange portal. But before that can happen, though, it's Prince Ale, though, finding yet another ultimate. Some weird shenanigans going on. I nearly thought it was canceled again, but Anomalous has their Fate of Both Worlds employed instead. Can this work out well, though? Gregory House has been the tip of the spear to allow much of these frags to come through. And even then, though, he's starting to be canceled out. There's much more focus on him, but he's playing towards the back line. Rin finally takes down Goofy. And this might be the chance, very early, to see a portal. But it would be the beginning of that gauge to use it.
I mean, I'd kind of like to see them hold on to it a little bit longer. You can already see them posturing to try and go for another retake here. They've managed to bleed out the God of Mischief, so they're only going to have to worry about that invisible boundary now coming out into this next fight. But now Yoshi's made the swap over onto the Captain America, and he's got the Freedom Charge, which might as well be, you know, a Diet Strategist Ultimate. So a lot of overhealth to try and chunk through for the side of UF Blue, and not a whole lot of utility to do it, and no Wolverine to do it either, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that may have been a misinput there from UF Blue. Unfortunately, though, Mikkel C was so good about removing away a lot of these players, but there it is, Kraken Impact! Should find more impact, and it certainly does. Make that not once, but twice over. Perhaps thrice? No, not thrice. But still
Not
enough
thrice.
to drive UF Blue away. Now
Not
we
thrice,
should see the
but-
portal.
We should, but I don't know if there's time now. 98% and ticking, and
Oh.
UF Blue aren't going to be able to get the contest going. Yeah, Goofy comes back out of the spawn too little too late. The rule of thumb, you know, it varies based on map, based on walkout, and based on a lot of different things, but the good kind of like rule of thumb is you got to get the Doctor Strange out of the spawn at about 90%. Anything less than that, and your window of opportunity to try and get that that pentagram of Farala out, get the teleport onto the point, it's so small. Like, you just don't really have the opportunity to do it.
We have the gift of hindsight, right? Do you think there would have been an opportunity around the 50% mark for them to use that portal, bring it out, and maybe flip the script?
I think with the benefit of hindsight, yeah, maybe they could have, but I would actually identify a different issue. And I think it's that, you lost 2 members trying to walk up around that 50%, and then Fifi Coffee pops the invisible boundary. I think that's a little bit of a rough team call to try and say, like, even being down 2 men, this is still winnable. Let's invest a strategy result into it. Sure, if they had been able to leverage some of their other ultimates, they might have been able to bounce back, but they just never got the opportunity. The Kraken impact was just doing way too much. And I mean, Bucky, I don't know, guys. He might be kind of strong right now. He gets that ultimate like candy.
When hasn't he been strong?
Good question. I don't know if I can think of a time. Maybe a time will come, but I can tell you that time is not right now.
It was called Infinity War. But hey, look at this, though. Oh, hold on. Take 2? No? Oh, it's okay. We'll just chop him up. Bury the body. No? I guess not even that. Naizu getting hard countered by the Doctor Strange. Immediately, 7,500 ultimates are brought out onto the main choke points. And all the while, we did focus on Naizu, was not able to find a lot of impact other than driving the positioning of the Doctor Strange away. That will stink for a little bit for Goofy, but he's certainly back into the fray. Naizu once again attempts to recreate history, but over and over again, Naizu was not finding success with the lava push, but Nate Step does fall.
He doesn't really have to find success with the lava push because, again, he just kidnaps the Doctor Strange and suddenly there's no shield. So the rest of UF Blue can't walk through the choke. They can't take the space they need, and Winthrop get the early cap. And then again, Naizu goes for more pushes off. And sure, the Winter Soldiers got the opportunity to use the fist to try and get back up on the point. You don't have to worry too much about that, but you're forcing positioning and forcing resources out of people who don't get to play comfortably. They don't get to play the game they want to because Naizu has wrestled all control away from them, and UF Blue have no choice but to try and wrestle it back, and they only have an invisible boundary to do it, and they have a mountain on the other side to climb.
Mikhail LC has swapped away from the Wolverine, realizing he hasn't been able to find a whole lot of value off of it, into the Magneto. That's going to allow only 1 duelist left, and that's Nate Step. Goddess of Death is nearly out, 78%, soon to be 80. Kraken impact in return, however, will be a good opportunity to bring out the Goddess of Death after. The invisible boundary, waiting patiently now for an opportunity to capture into one of these support ults, and it's certainly the case. Prince Alil, is bringing out the Fate of Both Worlds, but even then, off of that, Naizu's taking his opportunity to push UF Blue even farther back. No opportunity to be even close to the site, and Gregory House is there for cleanup.
And this might be revenge for Central Park. I mean, it doesn't look like Winthrop Academy have lost the step. They felt embarrassed on Central Park, nearly gave up the entire hold on Yggdrasil Path, but they don't want to give up Hell's Heaven. We're going to have this last-ditch effort now coming out from Goofy with the teleport play. There is enough time for it to come out. There will be another fight that comes off the back of it, and potentially even an Eye of Agamotto, but the Goddess of Death needs to find something. There we go. Nate Step finds the opening that UF Blue really needed in this moment.
Oh, but all the while, though, is that another support player gone? I think they may have survived the lava push. Nate Step, though, did remove the invisible boundary wielder, but unfortunately, though, they are the next to fall themselves. This is not going to be a flawless fight anymore, and UF Blue is so close to capturing the point themselves. But Naizu has been evasive completely, avoiding everything. Agamotto is out, and there's no chance to get back up. Doctor Strange burns in the lava, and Winthrop once again remains flawless for the series inside NECC Division 2.
Flawless series-wise, but not map-wise. UF Blue did get their pound of flesh, but Winthrop Academy took a couple kilos back with them, and it was, again, Naizu on the Angelo that was the difference maker. Yeah, that's the most deserved MVP of all time. I talked again about how, you're able to just take the Doctor Strange away and deny space by just denying the team access to the shield. And even if you don't find the lava push off the back of it, you don't find the environmental KO, doesn't matter because you still are able to buy the space off the back of it. Naizu hears that and says, all right, bet. This time I'm going to get myself 2 environmentals back to back off the back of it. And it's both the Vanguards. It's Danger and then it's Goofy falling one after the other. And crucially, that Emma Frost was 3% away from Psionic Seduction, another tool that UF Blue needed to essentially not die with in order to be able to have any say in this fight. Props to Nate Step. He did all that he could in that moment with that Goddess of Death, trying to find that KO that he needed, and he found the one. But then for that one, Winthrop Academy took 6.
Very impressive from Naizu overall, right? Just being able to divide out the teams, break them apart completely. Any chances of a flank or any backliners off of UF Blue were just not available, and it forced the teams to fight entirely in the front lines, but not together either. It felt like it was a lot of 6v1s, or if it was a 1v1, it was always the Angela versus someone that was just not equipped to fight an Angela pick like that on their own.
He's quite like, she's quite literally like Wolverine, but in Vanguard form. Like Wolverine with even more HP, and he's got a healing factor. So like, that's already a crazy statement to say to begin with. But that's really the role that, you know, Angela fills, and it shows to me that Winthrop are ahead of the curve, especially in relation to some of the other teams in this tournament. Potentially, they might even be tapped into something that the pro scene might be catching up to shortly, because we've seen a couple of teams in the pro scene adopt the Angela, one or two here and there, and it's made its way into the collegiate scene. And if you're not scrimming against it every day, and it's not something that you're seeing all the time when you tune in to watch the pro games, are you really going to, you know, have it download? Are you really going to know how to deal with it? For 1 minute, or sorry, rather for 4 minutes on Central Park, they did have the answer, but then Winthrop just changed the question, and suddenly, you know, we actually don't know how to deal with this Angela anymore because the calculus has changed.
Well, luckily for us, we're no longer in school. These students are, and their brains are getting bigger and bigger every single day, and they're learning so much, and I can't wait to see what UF Blue can do once they figure out that equation to solve Angela. Luckily for us, though, we do have the question of what we could do during our break. We can go check out some amazing places like Wenzel's, make our own little meatballs, and you can also check out Buy Blue Light and Extron as we head over to our small little break while we get our next series ready. Don't go anywhere! If you like Marvel Rivals, you came to the greatest place on planet Earth to watch it, and we'll see you in just a few minutes.
Cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out of try but can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to. Cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out of try but can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to.
to fight. Is a world that's mine. Need a place to hide. Will you free my mind? Follow the light of a world that's blind. In your eyes I see there's a place for me.
1974. I think I'm going insane. I'm feeling crazy. Can't get it out of my head. Oh no, if the devil inside takes hold, then I just might wind up dead. Wasted, face it. You're never gonna be the one. Rockstar, you won't get far. At least you had fun. People tell you you can be anything you wanna be, a king or a queen, as long as you got a dream. Oh no, it's a lie. They just wanna take your life, try to tell you it's a battlefield. People tell you you can be anything you wanna be, wanna go to outer space, superhero in the streets. Oh man, what a lie, what a time to be alive. How have I survived? Life's a battlefield. 1974.
Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see you. One too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different. Talk to somebody new, kinda wish it was you, kinda numb to the feeling. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Not that you're gone, I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Laying on my floor, thinking about all the things that we've been through. From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, 'cause I know we're a mess every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem
Nothing cuts quite like a memory, especially one that you're trying to forget. But I can't find the energy to rewind and reset.
Welcome back to NECCology 101. This is your Professor Keg and, of course, Professor CB here. We're here to diagnose and see what's going on in our next matchup as we head over to Division 3 with our amazing Marvel Rival matchup. Professor, what's going to happen?
I like how you went from professor as in like a teacher professor to we're gonna diagnose like some sort of science doctor professor sort of hybrid thing. You know, that's
you know what? I think that's your title.
Do doctors diagnose that, or doctors do do
I would
professors
hope
diagnose
so.
things?
Sometimes.
Okay.
My
Well,
doctors definitely do.
I'm gonna diagnose you and I with a good time because the last matchup that we saw earlier on today gave us a glimpse into the future. I think in terms of both the metas that we might see in the pro scene of Marvel Rivals and potentially in maybe a few months to a few years time, some of the names we might end up seeing there as well. And I think this will be no different as we're checking in on Division 3 and we got Purdue Black versus Conestoga Academy. I'm looking forward to this one. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that we can see at this level.
So the big defining factors of our last series was Angela, Mantis, and a little bit of Hawkeye. Do you think we're going to see those three usual suspects again?
I don't know that we will. One thing that I am pretty confident that we will see, I actually have to go back and double check the name. We ask the players to, give us some fun facts about themselves, and I did see one person's fun fact was literally just, I like Bucky. So I suspect we'll probably be seeing a fair bit of him. Let me actually scroll back up here and find exactly who that was.
Can you shout them out? Can we expose them for their Bucky love?
Yeah, let's go. It's Violinja actually on Conestoga Condors over here. Yeah, so probably gonna see a little bit of Winter Soldier coming out from Violinja, and I'd like to also see Hungry Shark come out with a Jeff. Just if we're gonna be living up to the names here, might as well go all the way with it.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. We know half the team comp already.
Or a third of it,
Sure.
2/6.
I'll take your word for it.
If you reduce your fractions.
I hate fractions.
On the other side, Purdue Black, not really giving us a whole lot in terms of the hero picks that we're going to see, but there is a lot of fun things to be had here. Like we got Wong Diggity, who does anime analysis on YouTube. That's It's
Did we
gonna
ask
be.
him what his favorite anime was?
I don't know if we did ask, but I'm kind of curious because it's one of those questions, right? Where you're like, hey, you're into anime. What's your favorite one right now? Like, what one are you the most into? Okay, what's the one you've checked out most recently?
Oh, most recent anime or favorite?
Yeah, give me both actually. What's your
Ooh. My partner and I are watching Psyche K right now,
Okay.
and my favorite is Evangelion.
That's a classic, I think. I mean,
yeah.
it's literally a classic, but I think it's a classic pick for a lot of people. I'm gonna shout out my favorite right now, which is also the most recent, which is Dandadan. I'm
Okay.
in season 2 right now, and I got to go back and get through it. Prot says Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
That's another classic pick, I think. All right, good taste all around, and also good taste in the map picks. As we're gonna be kicking things off again on domination and going right back to Burn into Chala.
Ooh. This was a tough one for UF Black back over in Division 2. We saw how wild a lot of team formations can be and how huge it is to get that initial point capture and just keep that ball rolling. It was a simple Doctor Strange portal trap that was ill-timed by a few seconds that allowed that first domination point to never go in their favor. I'm really hoping we get to see both teams have an even pacing this time.
I'm also curious to see if we get to see, all 3 of the sub maps because we only got to see the Institute of Science and Warrior Falls last time around. Didn't actually get to go to Stellar Spaceport. Warrior Falls kind of plays a little bit differently from the other 2. I think it's kind of the anomaly when it comes to these 3 sub maps. So I kind of want to see us run the full gambit and see if we get, a long-winded domination. We go the full distance, all 3 rounds, get those early adaptations. We can really get a taste of what these teams are all about before we even get to a second map.
It's definitely a possibility here. There's not a lot of information about either of these 2 teams. It's really going to take this first domination point to figure out exactly how each of them like to click. So, yeah, I agree with you. I hope we get to see all 3. And who knows, at this point, there's a 50-50 chance that we will.
50-50. Once we actually get the teams ready to go get the lobby all set up and kicked off, we can also start to see the hero picks and bans coming out. And again, I'm gonna go back to a question where you asked, are we going to see the Angela? My question is, do you think either of these teams are going to ban the Angela? Because this is actually the first week that she's playable in NECC, and I think it might be safe, especially if you're at one of these levels where you definitely haven't been scrimming very much with her, and you're not sure if she's in the meta, and maybe there's a couple more teams out there that we haven't seen that are playing her as like kind of this off pick. Maybe it's something that you just don't want to deal with and you just go straight for it. You'd be like, nope, too new, don't care, haven't learned it, get it out.
It's a good question. I feel like the difference between what could very well be this series and the last series we just watched is that the duelist capabilities weren't the strong suit for either Winthrop or UF Black. They were good, don't get me wrong, but we talked mostly about how they were defined by their vanguards and by their strategist picks, which is pretty much where Marvel Rivals is going meta-wise anyways, right? But for a good Angela to be shut down, you really need to have good duelists. I'm thinking a Punisher, something that just racks up a lot of quick damage, a Moon Knight when Angela's on the ground, something that can just melt her completely, like a stick of butter. You need to butter away Angela quickly for her to be counterplayed well. We didn't really get to see that in the first series. So if we have either team that's comfortable with, like, say, a Punisher or a not insta-ban Star-Lord, then yeah, absolutely. We could see the Angela either thrive or just be hard banned out immediately.
And not to dwell on the past too much, but I mean, how can I when the future is uncertain? One of our players has to do a driver update real quick, so it might be a little while. So let's reminisce a little bit more about the previous series that we were talking about earlier today, and what we saw with the Angela. Something else that we didn't. Yeah, I mean, don't worry, we'll be happy again someday soon, and it very well might be once this driver update goes through, we can get back in the game. But something else that we didn't really see a whole lot from those 2 teams was the triple strategist. We saw a little bit of it with Winthrop Academy going forward the Ultron from time to time, but we didn't actually really get to run the full gambit of where the triple strategist meta is right now. We didn't really see a whole lot of Jeff. We didn't really see a whole lot of Adam Warlock. We saw a little bit of the Mantis, but we didn't really get to see some of the more interesting flavors of triple strategists that are available for the sampling today.
We saw a very quick stint with Winthrop on Warrior Falls bringing out the Adam Warlock. I think it was there for approximately 15 seconds before it was swapped out. But I mean, yeah, I would like to see more Resurrect comps. It's not nearly as common as it used to be after the recent LAN, but hopefully we could see Adam Warlock find some dominance again. it's just harder when resurrections are not necessarily team compatible, or I guess team up compatible as they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still seeing a fair bit of Adam Warlock, in the Marvel Rivals Ignite kind of scene. He's got this weird back and forth right now with Jeff. It's a real interesting dynamic, the way you play around the reses and the way you play around the It's Jeff. But we're gonna go ahead and go to a quick break while we get things set up, and then we'll resurrect the broadcast once we have everything ready to go. Don't go anywhere, chat. We'll be right back.
Our precious timer means nothing here. Where am I?
You're back on the broadcast.
What?
Like I said, we've resurrected the broadcast. We've been born again, and
I have half HP?
Don't worry, I got a snap for you. You're good. I got you. Back up to full HP.
Thank you.
What was that? It looked like a guitar pick.
It was.
Don't okay. Don't eat that. Don't. One of our players, by the way, mentioned that he plays guitar. All right, you can.
I know.
It was you, and you can do it with your mouth. Incredible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, We got the lobby ready to go. We got the teams all ready to play, apparently. So we should be getting to go here into T'Challa before long, before Keg puts any more choking hazards in his mouth anytime soon. The sooner the better.
Oh yeah, always the sooner the better. This is why I'm not allowed to leave my house anymore. That's what got me into esports. But don't worry though, we have something far more interesting than guitar picks. We have ourselves going into the first match of the day. We saw how it went out before. We want to see the full gambit this time, but frankly, one of the most interesting things about Marvel Rivals are the picks and bans. And don't worry, we have 0 seconds until we see our first ones, hopefully.
It's going to be Conestoga, and they're going to go straight for a Luna Snowban, another classic. You want to take out one of the strongest healers in the game, go for it. Also take out the Snowflake, so it kind of takes out a lot of the flankers. Stormban, that's an interesting look on the other side. I'm a little curious about that one. Very well might be a target. I also do like the Emma Protect, though.
So I'm assuming then we probably see a Protect on Jeff, right? If we see maybe the Storm Jeff combo.
No, we're seeing a Protect on Bucky, because that's Violin just pick right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to see that. And then Loki ban. I like these teams are wasting no time. Like, they're not thinking about it at all. They've got their plan already ready to go. 3, 2, 1. Hit me with it, Purdue. 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. All right. Storm and Emma were the only sure things. Now they actually got to think. All right. Okay. We're going to slow our pace down a little bit and actually think about this ban.
Okay. Human Torch ban. So they're anti-flyers a lot. So something tells me probably not opting to play a lot of duelist capabilities or maybe little hit scan.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to still see the Phoenix come out, but it's, you're taking out some of Phoenix's, I wouldn't even say some of Phoenix's biggest ops, some of the things that she kind of hard counters, maybe allowing her to focus more on frontline pressure. And frontline pressure, speaking of, you're going to have a lot of that if you're bringing Punisher to the dance floor here today.
Okay, so protecting the strategist a little bit more. Purdue maybe want to opt to have more of a strategist presence. Singular, of course, the Punisher will be very viable. Cloak and Dagger was protected, and the Iron Man was banned. We are just anti-flyers in this whole lobby. Oh, and the Phoenix is gone.
Yeah, Phoenix ban. All right. Well, that's I kind of redundant with the Punisher pick. I think in the Punisher protect. I think we're gonna see a whole lot of boots on the ground Marvel Rivals here today with the Winter Soldier on one side and a Punisher on the other. It's very likely it's just going to be some good old fashioned some FPS action.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what?
I mean, you could see some dive, but you also got strong counter dive options, so.
Okay. Well, I hope we get to see some good counter dive options. The Loki is banned, and that makes me nervous to see because you won't be able to take things out like more dives. But that calls for another guitar pick as we head over into the next game. Very delicious, but not as delicious as Wenzel's. I gotta say, though, very excited to see how this plays out from Purdue's side. I am a Punisher enjoyer because I'm very basic, but I think this could work out well for them.
I'm gonna have to put my foot down here on the guitar picks. Yeah, you said Wenzel's is better, and also Wenzel's gonna be much higher in protein. I don't think there's any nutritional value to a guitar pick.
That's right. You were teaching me what macros were before we got started.
Yeah, it's a true story. Keg didn't know what macros were before this, and
I figured that out.
I mean, I guess I take nutrition classes. I took some nutrition classes in college. They taught me about the macronutrients, and I work out a lot.
Oh, macronutrients sound like things that plants use to photosynthesize. I don't know anything about plants.
No, that would be the sun, actually.
Oh, yes. Well, you can't eat that.
Not for lack of trying. Conestoga gonna come out here with the Hela and the Bucky. Again, Violin just said he loves the Bucky, but he's gonna have one on the other side against proper honesty. So, a little bit of a Winter Soldier off to see who claims the season, but it's gonna be Conestoga taking early positioning on the point while Purdue try to hold off the high ground.
Yep, no trap plays, no gimmicks, no shenanigans. It is a raw fight for the point to start things off. It's an Invisible Woman to get the first KO of the series, though. That's going to be Violin Joe, of course, the follow-up as well to take down their doppelganger. I'm assuming at least a few tears were probably shed in that engagement, but overall, Conestoga's looking pretty dang good to start things off.
Yeah, it's not a bad first engagement. Sometimes you want to just get yourself on the point and get that early capture, and then Purdue Black, they kind of realize they're not really mistake, but they kind of realize that they have to try and contest it eventually. They drop down and try and play into it. Great bionic hook onto Proper Honesty, and everybody just dogpiles on top of that one. That's an early frag, and it's going to amount to a lot more capture percentage for Conestoga.
Now remember, of course, there is no Loki to be available for either one of these teams, so Kraken Impact can't be shielded away, and you can't break the totems either. Final Judgment is out, though. Judge, Jury, and Executioner could find some impact, but it was procced pretty early on. Forces Conestoga to play directly onto the point, and there is another ultimate. I believe that's going to be the Eternal Bond to suffice to deny out any possibility for Polmaz to find impact off the Final Judgment.
Going to be a lot more ultimates as well. We're going to have Kraken impacts on both sides. I'm looking to see if Proper Honesty tries to pull the trigger now that the space is there, but looking to try and get a bionic hook as Polmaz just keeps trying to find more damage, getting a little bit more space. Now the front line of Purdue going to start walking forward, but a little bit of an overextension there from Slightly Hottie, and Envy is going to clean that one up. Invisible Boundary coming out as well for Purdue. So taking a couple of losses here. Cullington are going to come out as well, but yeah, instantly blown up.
Very important note, though. Bino has that. Oh, never mind. Psionic Seduction is set up and ready to go. Vile uses it before the stun can go out. Not going to be a possibility anymore, but the Goddess of Death is still available. We could see those ultimates combined together with the hands of the Meteor M, but Bunga Boy still has that Eternal Bond available. Could very well use that to lead the charge past this choke point directly onto site, and Mystic Rye could shut it down. A lot of possibilities here when it comes to the ultimate macro game, but not nutrients, as unfortunately, Purdue have been starved out of the first point.
Yeah, no possibilities at all, as a matter of fact, if you don't get yourself onto the point. And unfortunately, Purdue Black just had the door slammed clean in their face. Conestoga, they don't give up an inch once they take that point. It's about as clean as it gets. The silver lining, though, is that both teams are going to be carrying a lot of their ultimates over on into the next sub point if we go on to the Institute of Science. And, yeah, I kind of want to see a big play come out here from Purdue Black. They're a little bit behind after, using that Final Judgment and having Wong Diggity also, I believe, at some point pop that Invisible Boundary to try and protect Slightly Hottie, who got caught out there. I want to see them try and make up some ground on those ultimates and make a big play. They're going to have a lot on the other side to deal with, but they should be able to get themselves back in if they can just find that one opening.
I mean, it's hard to determine with Purdue Black. Do you want to use all of your ults as soon as you get onto the point and try to burn away Conestoga's ults now? Or if you're Conestoga, are you opting to let Purdue just use these ults right away and save your ults for the next engagement?
I kind of feel like if you're Conestoga, you just kind of like play your hand a little bit slowly, have Purdue Black force them to make a move into you and then just react and don't overreact. Don't spend too much all at once. I would like to see Purdue Black try and make the first move, preferably with the Final Judgment there. But Violinja with a huge KO right out the gate onto Wong Diggity. You ain't going anywhere without your Invis woman backing you up.
That's right. A lack of a strategist makes things very difficult for the Final Judgment to find any use now. But Bunga Boy does have that Eternal Bond that could easily give a red carpet, or for them, a blue carpet, directly onto the site. But instead, Slightly Hottie, not long for this world, gets taken down in their prime. All these ults are available for Purdue, but they haven't been procced out.
Yeah, I mean, the ults don't mean a damn thing if you don't ever get the opportunity to use them. If Conestoga are just finding KOs in the neutral, then what do these ults really matter? Like, the check marks are just fluff at that point. They're just kind of getting out-mechanicked. And, I mean, going up against a Bucky and a Hela, especially with the positioning now on this sub-map, is going to be real difficult trying to walk in. You're going to have to be constantly wary of where Noctis is playing. Final Judgment can maybe try and clear a little bit of space here, but I doubt you're going to be able to find a KO off the back of it.
Well, it may not just be the Final Judgment that can do it, but what if you combined it with literally everything in your arsenal? That is almost all the ults that Purdue have. 2 out of 3 have been used so far. There's still more available, but the Psionic Seduction reduces away all of the leeway that was given to Purdue Black.
It looks so good right out the gates. I mean, we were able to get an early KO for Proper Honesty, able to try and find just that one little crumb. But again, like you said, the Psionic Seduction just cuts off the backline and stops the approach from Purdue Black. But luckily for Purdue Black, they still have more ults in the bank. They can try and take another crack at this. But the problem is, that fight has already taken so long to play out that we're already at about 70%. So you're only going to get like one more good one here.
I thought for sure we'd see that Final Judgment come out, and then Bunga Boy would ult, and they would use all their ults to get onto site. It would be a Hail Mary, but it's definitely needed. Surely now this will be the time to do it, right? Slightly Hottie's good to take down Violinja. That's one body gone. That's the most aggressive duelist that Conestoga has. Psionic Seduction's out. Bunga Boy still has the Eternal Bond. The Kraken Impact directly on top. Finally now all the ults are crescendoing down. We just need to see those 2 other ones. One support ult at a time. All the while Proper Honesty has cleared the site. And yet through all of that, neither one of those ults were needed.
And with that, Purdue Black have finally managed to get themselves on the board, and I like that they're holding on to both their strategist ults because they're going to need them going into this next fight, because you got Mystic Rai with this Meteor M. He can take down one of them. He can shut down either the Invisible Boundary or the Eternal Bond from Bunga Boy, but he can only pick one. He can't do both unless they end up getting layered somehow. So Conestoga have to try and either force that error or just get the biggest dunk of all time.
It is a game of chicken right now, and Mystic does not want to be the first to use the Meteor M to outdo Wong or Bunga Boy. Has to find out a possibility, but Mystic doesn't even need an ultimate to find impact. He's already good to remove one. That's Proper Honesty gone. He was the one that cleared the way for Purdue Black to get any points on the board. It's a matter now of seeing if these ults will finally be used now that Conestoga have pushed their way directly onto the domination point. They're not using much. It's simple left clicks coming out from this Hela. Noctis, though, does have Goddess Death set up and ready. Finally, now the Meteor M is out, and you predicted it, CB, correctly. Bunga Boy falls in the middle of their ult. Was that another one gone? The other support is down. The strategist is gone, and Purdue Black are fighting with their skeletons.
Yeah, and we're going to have the Kraken impact now coming out from Violinja, and that just might be the swan song. Purdue Black not getting another opportunity here. Like I said, I mean, you needed the Meteor M to shut down one strategist ult, but if you just take down the other before that Invisible Boundary ever even gets to come out, then again, it's null and void. Like I said earlier, the ults don't mean a damn thing if you don't get a chance to use them, and Conestoga know when to push their advantage and stop Purdue Black from ever even having access to their Q keys.
I really just want to see in the next matchup, regardless of the picks and bans, regardless of who wins or loses, I just want to see Purdue use their ultimates.
I'd like to see them get the chance to do it. I mean, Conestoga don't even, like I said, they don't even want to let them. Just, you know, walk in, die. That's it. That's really all you get to do.
That is a perfect life right there.
And not a second more.
Exactly.
14k damage for Palmalls, though. Like, there was definitely some effort being put in there. The Hela swap, I think, paid off quite well and was able to get Purdue Black the one little bit of a percentage that they did get. The one fight win was off the back of that Hela swap, and then 2 quick KOs in rapid succession off the back of that. So there is the potential for Purdue to make some swaps and be able to find the frags that they need. They just need to try and keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, we're being a little silly talking about how the ultimates need to actually be used. In the matchup, you have it available, you should use it. But honestly, I don't think you could really put the blame on one specific or even a group of specific players on Purdue Black about how they lost that match. It really felt like every player was doing their own individual impact. It was just that these individuals needed to band together and play as a team to use their ultimates together and combined to push and help each other out.
I think it also does come down to the tempo of things, and that was very much so being set by Conestoga throughout the entirety of that map. As we go on to our next map, though, Convergence, it's going to be Haljalia staying in Wakanda, you know, not racking up the frequent flyer miles, staying right on the same continent, same country, in fact. And we're going to see some different things play out. Again, domination can be kind of weird. You can kind of write that one off as a one-off. Convergence and Convoy, yeah, that's where the big boys play.
I know, Convergence and Convoy are my favorite modes. The first point of domination, you still get a little bit of that taste of what map 1 could have been like, but we waste no time, everybody. We are going straight into the picks and bans. I'm trying to think if there was one specific hero from Conestoga that was really major for them to get that win condition. I guess you could say you maybe want to ban out the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think so would Purdue. And it's kind of mean to ban out Violinja's favorite hero, but I guess if he's going to be that lethal on it, you might as well. I didn't hate, the Bucky mirror from the side of Purdue Black, but it just wasn't really bearing any fruit. But again, I don't know if that goes to the picks. I think that goes to the tempo. So you need to try and craft these picks and bans in such a way that you have the ability to set the tempo. I think the Emma Protect is another good start. It's definitely something that they feel as though they are comfortable on. The Hela Protect for Conestoga is an interesting one, because I think both teams were showing a pretty strong Hela there.
Pretty strong Hela, but I think Conestoga, after their performance on Domination, probably feels mechanically better than Purdue. I think they're more willing to take those fights and those risks.
Another Storm ban. So what I'm gathering is that Purdue Black, they just definitely do not want to go up against, like you said, those Flyers. They don't want to go up against the Storm. And, funny thing about Storm, she also has a bit of a damage boost, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to be playing against the damage boosted Hela anytime soon. So
Yeah,
I think
good.
there's layers to this.
Okay, Magneto Protect. We're really putting a lot of our stock inside the Vanguards for this matchup here. Makes a lot of sense. I think this first point, attacking side Purdue, the domination point might be their biggest struggle. We haven't seen them on Convoy just yet, but given what we had seen before, I think making sure they have double shields for this initial engagement makes a lot of sense. But you know what? We got rid of all the other flyers. Just get rid of Iron Man.
And yep, Torch as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, this might, yeah, it just might just be that these teams don't really want to play a whole lot of flyers. Again, they just want to keep it boots on the ground, play the most honest Marvel rivals that they possibly can. So I think this is gonna once again kind of put a lot of pressure onto the Magneto and the strategist line. You know, the Meteor M's versus those strategist ultimates is going to continue to be the key thing to keep an eye out at this level for. And can we, again, actually get off both of our strategist ultimates? If we have two of them and the Meteor M comes out, I think we have to be a little bit more quick to try and pull the trigger on, like, our invisible boundary or whatever our second strategist ends up being. We know it's not going to be Luna. We know it's probably not going to be Invis either. It looks like on one side, yeah, I did see a Mantis there.
I mean, I'd be interested in seeing a Mantis. Mantis, when it comes to like more convoy maps where you're much more funneled in your positioning, I find doesn't have as much value on, say, the defensive side. Attacking, I think you can have a much stronger argument for backlining a lot farther and having some frag potential if someone tries to dive you. But it can be so tough when you're counter dive so heavily and people are focused on the objective not to help you out. So I'm happy going into this. Purdue does have a triple strat pack.
Yeah, and speaking of that triple strategist pack, one flyer did get left off the chopping block. Ultron made it through, and it's going to be a Mantis damage boosted Ultron at that. So I like this look from Purdue Black. The problem, though, is going to be that you're going up against double hit scan, Noctis and Violinja. It's going to be real difficult for Wong Diggity to find the value that he needs, so he's going to have to try and play as safe as he can while still finding value. I also like this rotation from Conestoga going into the hallway, but it should be a nice, easy shooting gallery to plink away with the beams.
I'm very nervous about this defensive Ultron, though. You have double shields, which means everyone on the ground will be protected, and that means Ultron will not be. He has to play around the environment, and that decreases his healing potential. Right away, though, Conestoga are already on the site. They chose not to go the conventional routes. They went up the stairs towards blue, and they dropped their way down. Slightly Hottie is, of course, gone now, and essentially that's all she wrote. Oh, hold on. What's this?
No, it's not.
Transmission? A portal?
It's not all she wrote. The pen never runs out of ink. She's got a lot more to say. Proper Honesty going to come back in with a strange TP, but Palmos falls early on. Carbon Crush nearly takes down Noctis, but with the fly is going to be able to get away. Finally, Slightly Hottie's been able to strike First Blood and take down Hungry Sharks. That's got to be enough for Purdue Black to stake their claim on the point again.
Now, portal used up and doesn't find a lot of fruit. Mystic Rye, good for the double. Both the strategists are gone. Of course, on the other side, though, you can't rock the Winter Soldier. What is the next answer? It's pretty much essentially the same, except it's hit scan. It's going to be Punisher. And through it all, though, Conestoga, they have found their footing once again. This Emma's not long for the world. And right again, the domination point did not go in Purdue's favor. How do they play defensive convoy?
It's gonna be rough. There's still a lot of cover for the Ultron to play around, but the problem is they don't really have a whole lot of positioning. They really staggered out there. I did kind of like, Proper Honesty coming back with that strange TP early on, taking another opportunity at it. And Purdue Black, to their credit, did actually almost wrestle themselves back, but it's a pretty heavy investment to come away with essentially nothing. Conestoga have a lot of ultimates about to come online. In fact, all 6 of them. If you're Purdue Black, you gotta try and win one of these duels in the neutral. It's really the only hope you have to try and beat this ult advantage.
I gotta say, maybe I'm incorrect about this. I'm not really a big fan of Purdue Black's strategist formation here defensively. I don't think the healing output for the Mantis or the Ultron will be enough.
And we're going to have the Soul Resurgence coming out, so we're going to find out if maybe they can try and return here. Eye of Agamotto comes out. It's absolutely huge, but the Carbon Crush is even bigger. Going to deny any follow-through from coming down, but Wong Diggity does get his one. Meteor M now coming out from Mystic Rye, and it's dunked right on top of Bunga Boy. A regular Shaquille O'Neal now, and Conestoga will not be stopped.
World's greatest water gun is coming out, though. Conestoga once again melting down Purdue Black. First point given to them with relatively little resistance.
And 5 minutes in the time bank is a bit yikes, I gotta say.
Yeah, there's got to be major changes when it comes over to Purdue Black. I would start with maybe I would start with the strategist. You have the Luna banned out, so that makes things a lot more difficult. The Mantis can find value. I just don't think a defensive Ultron's the move here.
I feel like if you're going to, bank yourself into this defensive Ultron, you have to get more value out of it. And like I said, you're a flyer going up against double hit scan, so you're always going to be at this uphill battle. So yeah, I kind of agree it might be time to ditch it. But I mean, at this point, it'd be too little too late. You've got the ultimates and you don't have a whole lot of time to make those swaps or make those adjustments. I think if you're Purdue Black, you're committed. So you have to try and win this fight right now and then maybe get yourself the time to make that swap.
All right, Rage of Ultron is out now. Make your value worth it. Psionic Seduction right on top. That could stall and allow maybe Wong to find some impact, and he does. Polmaz is there for the follow-up, but it took two ultimates, to get it done. Will that be enough, though? Can they recharge it in time? Bunga Boy is close to getting that Eternal Bond, and now goes much closer to getting the Mantis ult as well. But again, look at Mystic Rai. He is set up and ready to deny out Bunga Boy's Eternal Bond.
Yeah, he's 94% to Bunga Boy's 83, so it's definitely going to be online in time to try and shut that one down again. And there's no Magneto on the side of Purdue Black to bubble it, so, I mean, basically Bunga Boy has to go for a suboptimal Eternal Bond, or it's going down no matter what.
It's got to, and now's the time. It's finally been procced out. Psionic Seduction's underway. Nalgo's going to help out as well with their ultimate. Final Judgment underway as well. Anything in the arsenal for either one of these teams needs to finally be employed. Violin finds at least one, but it's core shut down in its prime. An ult for an ult, a soul for a soul. Everybody's trying to employ whatever they can to create as much space as possible. But through all the chaos, this Ultron hides away in a small tube. But even a small tube cannot protect the nanobots. It leaves it now just the Conestoga with relatively, again, little resistance. A clear path to victory to get themselves 3 points.
God help me if I'm ever under fire and my only cover is a small tube, but yeah, like you said, not going to be enough to stop the nanobots, not going to be enough to stop Conestoga as they roll right over Purdue Black on Haldajalia so far. I mean, with a 2:54 time bank, that's quite a long time. On a lot of these cart maps, you don't often see, if you see full caps, it's usually with under a minute, if any time at all to spare. Having nearly 3 minutes, blistering pace, to say the least.
Yeah, man, the path to victory now for Purdue, I think, is a lot more of a difficult one. I like the composition they had for their defense, if it was the offense. I just think it was too glass cannony for a defensive line when you have two very powerful hit scan. Make that 3 if you want to include Emma Frost as well. Damage dealers up against you.
So I'm curious to see if Purdue Black, like you said, you didn't really like the defensive Ultron, and it looks like they're not going to bring him to the offensive side. Instead, going to go for the Phoenix and the Hela, a double hit scan front line of their own, going up against, again, Violent and Noctis, who are sticking with the Punisher Hela. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I think Purdue Black is like looking at Conestoga and being like, all right, look. Let's just keep it simple. Let's do what they're doing and make it work here. I think this is a good reset that's necessary. Oh, I got nervous for a second. Yeah,
your heart stopped too, right? Like Violent, I thought he was going over. I thought we were about to see the throw of the century coming out.
I was about to laugh so hard.
If I can't play Bucky, I won't play anything at all.
If I can't have him, no one can. All right, let's see what the strategy here for Purdue Black is. We saw exactly how Conestoga went up that small little hallway towards the purple and dropped down. Won't be the case for Purdue. It seems like they're taking much more of a simple route that we see a lot of teams like to employ. Double shields are going to be the name of the game, though. Remember, Purdue originally had a Doctor Strange after that portal, and unfortunately that shield didn't last very long.
One key thing, though, is that Conestoga could make the swap over regardless of who dies first. So Noctis actually can make the swap over to the Doctor Strange if he wants to and get another recontest here. But, I mean, they might not have to if they can get their pound of flesh back there. Violin's are going to fall as well. Slightly Hottie going in deep and finds 2 off of the diamond form. And this should be nothing. There's nothing that Conestoga can really do here at this point. Purdue Black just walk in and take the point for free. Finally showing some signs of life.
Yeah, this is really good here. And it's beat for beat what we saw back in Division 2 earlier today. Teams struggling or finding success a lot in these domination points. Purdue, I believe even quicker than how Conestoga had taken it, have 5 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock for their first cap.
But they're not going to carry any ultimates on into this next one, so the snowball is going to be a lot harder. We're also seeing some more swaps coming out from Conestoga. No more Punisher. Now we're seeing Hella Hawkeye, and good lord, some season 0 chicanery coming out. These long-range hit scans, good lord. I know Hawkeye's not really a hit scan, but might as well be for all the damage he can do. Feels like getting hit with a truck.
Yeah, and remember again, we talked about how the shields work for Purdue Black. They don't have the Doctor Strange up-close shield. It's going to be off of timing from Proper Honesty and Slightly Haughty just evading its line of sight. Proper Honesty immediately falls as a revenge plot from the Cloak and Dagger. But all the while, Mystic Ryan Company, they're forcing all of Purdue back.
I mean, you lose your Magneto early on. That's one of those 2 shields down, and Emma Frost doesn't last very long, so, I mean... Slightly Haughty can't really do a whole lot, so it's just a forward march for Purdue Black, and now Purdue Black have the ultimates to match Conestoga's, so this is going to be another bloody fight, but it's one that they're going to want to close the distance on as quickly as they can, because you're going to be going up against Violinja's ult, and we know how much damage that Hawkeye can do even without an ultimate. Imagine if he never misses.
Yeah, exactly, and we're going to be seeing now the cycling look a lot more confident for Conestoga's side. That being said, though, Purdue, they're biding their time, and they could very well have 6 employed for this next fight. And they eventually will. There it is, number 1. Wow. Like it was nothing. Naogo's ult completely nullified. Oh my god. It is the blender. Not a single survivor. Tactical nuke brought down on the convoy. Goddess of Death, Psionic Seduction, no survivors.
And Noctis is going to be respawning and have the rest of the team... I mean, like, what happened? What was all that? Like, we just hit with the Psionic Seduction and the Goddess of Death one after another. There's nothing we can really do to stop Palmo's ult. And, I mean, again, you call out how good they were to shut down that End-Song Inferno. It was just Violinja with a couple stray shots there. Now Conestoga are going to be able to make their comeback. So there we go. There's that opening KO coming out from Mystic Raya. Again, the tip of the spear for Conestoga, and there's a lot more to that spear.
Oh, Noctis is attempting to make a play, though. Going to be taking an off angle for an attempted flank. Goddess of Death available on top. That's going to take a second for these strategists to realize what the heck is going on. All the while, it's driving forces away from the main point itself. Noctis good for 2. Make that a double. Can it be a third? Possibly. Noctis survives the ordeal, gets back to the convoy.
That's such a great flank that comes out from Noctis. It's not something that you see from the Hela players often, but, you know, knowing that you've got that ultimate, knowing that you've got that second lease on life, you can just go in, pop it, and the strategist line has no choice but to either move forward and face the rest of the team, or fall back, split, and end up falling, and unfortunately, they choose the latter. They choose to pay the iron price as Noctis takes down the strategist line, and now Purdue Black, sure, they still have 2 ultimates to carry on over into this next fight, but they've lost their momentum, and Conestoga now, once again, able to set the tempo.
And Conestoga, they've had Violinja swap away now from the Hawkeye to the Star-Lord. This will be great for the late-game Galactic Legend ultimate. 80% already. Proper Honesty's holding on to his Meteor M, waiting for the opportunity to get some revenge against Hungry Sharks.
We're to see if we actually see that interaction coming out. Envy with another early KO there. Palmos takes some stray damage. Blaster Barrage now coming out in Galactic Legend. There's the Meteor M to try and shut down Violinja. Homie throws that Meteor back to the stars, but the only star in the sky right now is Violinja, who takes down Wong Diggity, and Noctis is good for 2 as well, and this is a dead fight for Purdue.
Keep an eye on that timer, though. Minute 30 left on the clock now. Purdue have to think of something to get this going.
Luckily, they only used the Meteor M in that last fight, but unfortunately, it was only for the Galactic Legend. So basically, every other ultimate in the game is either online or will be online soon. And Noctis has the advantage as it comes to that Goddess of Death. So that might actually end up being the difference maker if we see a full house. If everybody mashes Q, the last one to get the good Goddess of Death might be the difference.
Now, last time Nalgo had End-Song's Inferno, it was shut down by a 2-shot of the Hawkeye bolts. Hawkeye's not around anymore. Violinja will not be able to easily take care of this ultimate, but it's still denied! Everybody focus Nalgo, and they don't even live to tell the tale!
It forces out so much resources, but they're just able to kite that ultimate so effectively, and then Noctis just hits the shots. It's so easy, and they shut down the Psionic Seduction early on, too. There's going to be some late stagger KOs coming out onto Proper Honesty. Bunga Boy is also all by his lonesome, and, oh, well, there was an invisible woman there, but might as well go unseen as Wong Diggity's going to fall as well, and like I said, late stagger KOs. You only got 30 seconds left, and Purdue Black used 2 of their biggest ultimates to try and force anything.
Okay.
Conestoga are Diamond Hands. They don't force anything at all. They've still got all of their ultimates. We're gonna have the strange TP now coming out from Purdue Black, but what do you even do from up here now? Like, you're stuck up a tree, and you have to try and make a play to come down.
Oh, don't worry, the firemen have 6 different answers for you. This kitty cat may be stuck in a tree, but they have all the tools at their disposal. It's overtime, yes, and now you're facing against 6 different ultimates. Mystic shuts down Bunga Boy, Noctis on top with Goddess of Death, a Galactic Legend on top. Anything that you don't want faced up against you, it's in your face. Overtime might as well have already gone to 0. That is a clean second map for Conestoga.
I mean, they lost the first point relatively quickly and nearly lost the second point, but once they regained control of the cart, they never conceded an inch. That was so clean, able to win so many fights in the neutral just off of pure raw duelist talent, shutting down ultimates with just a couple of clean shots, finding the openings to shut down psionic seductions on the other side, and only using what they needed to in order to win the fight and holding on to more resources for the next fight. That is Marvel Rivals 101. That is textbook. That's just how you play the game, and Conestoga seemed to have the entire handbook downloaded, ready to go on their iPads in front of them. They are cheating on this test.
Gotta give major props to Violinja in this matchup. Mr. Grai, of course, and Bino did such a great job. They both get their MVP credences, but the fact that we saw the flexibility in Duelist that Violinja was able to employ, the Hawkeye, not the Winter Soldier, unfortunately, here, the Punisher, so many, in the Star-Lord, of course, it really changed the pacing a lot for these individual fights that Purdue had to keep facing. And with the ults cycled up so quickly, there were so many obstacles that had to be faced up against that as soon as one got adapted against, Violinja would just swap to a different duelist.
Yeah, it's the flexibility of Violinja, and it's also the raw aim of Noctis. You know, 15 final blows on that Hela. That means that she is finding the marks whenever she needs to. You know, he's clean on that. And again, I go back to that flank play coming out with some of these heads-up plays. You don't see the Hela play in places like that. You know, you don't often see the Goddess of Death used in that way. But if you're that confident, if you know you're going to hit your shots and you know there's nothing you can do about it, and also, of course, if you got confidence in your team, if you know the homeboys got your back, you can go for a flank like that. You can go for a big play, and you can see how it just stunts all the momentum that Purdue Black had. And suddenly, you know, you're looking at Violinja again to be the one making the plays. You know, you go back and forth. Both these duelists, they got the sauce.
Look, if there's anything I've learned so far is that confidence is the mainstay win condition for any of these teams inside Marvel Rivals. And I'm also confident that you'll join us after this small break. Go get some Wenzels. I'm going to fill up on meat sticks, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Boy, that was so good. But you know what
My
else is so
co-caster
good?
is full of meat sticks.
Yeah, always full
he
of
took a
meat
ch-
sticks.
on the break, took a trip down to Wenzel's farm, but I think I know what else is good.
Oh yeah? What?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more Marvel Rivals action as Purdue Black versus Conestoga, and what could potentially be our last map is Conestoga have made the first two look clean.
I think you're right. I think things are looking really good for Conestoga right now, and there's a chance they could get the clean sweep of 3 maps in a row here, and maybe continuing their streak of being flawless series-wise through the entirety of their division thus far. They did bring things to map 5 in their last matchup, but so far, this has been pretty good.
Bit of a slip there, by the way, calling it their division, but I think if they keep this flawless run going, they very much so can call it their division, and Yggdrasil Path is going to be the next battleground. And let's go back in time once again to the previous series that we saw. In fact, we can go back in time to any other time that we have seen Yggdrasil Path being played in the competitive scene. We saw the 3-3 spawn hold. Do you think we're going to see it again, especially from the side of Conestoga, who seem to have a pretty good read on the things they're good at?
We did have a small break in between the last map and this one. That may have given some time for Purdue to relax and take a small breather for a second. That could be enough to reset the teams. But as we head back into things, we'll have to wait and see if that was enough time for them to get their bearings back together. Emma's gone, and Luna's gone as well.
That's interesting, by the way, because Purdue have been repeatedly protecting the Emma. This time, they're going to completely ban her outright. So now I'm curious what their first pick is going to be for the protect here. We'll see in about 3 seconds what it ends up being. And okay, so we're going to see something different that we have not seen thus far today, as we have our first Iron Man protect.
So the team that was very anti-flyer now first protects a flyer. Okay, sure.
Just gotta, embrace the skies, fly the friendly skies, get those freaking flyer miles racked up. He's spending too much time walking, our feet are tired.
Oh, now they're banning the flyers too, okay? So that's Ultron gone. Do you think we're gonna see the second protect on Purdue be Storm?
I think, no, the second ban will be Storm, so you were almost right. Their next protect, on the other hand, though. Something interesting, so they're banning out the Ultron because they don't want to have the team up with the Iron Man, which I understand, but that's also one of the best, counters to an Iron Man is the Ultron, because again, you have a flyer who can meet him in the air where he's a lot less comfortable and also is a hit scan, so can also take that duel at range. You're going to have the Punisher, though, which is going to be kind of a double-edged sword, because that's another one of Tony's biggest ops right now.
Yeah, I think that's so funny that be able to reserve the Iron Man and then reserve the Punisher right after. I feel like you're just setting up your own win cons against you.
A little bit. And with the Mag Protect as well, I'm going to be curious to see. By the way, we don't have a whole lot of strategist bans. There's the next one. We've got the Loki now coming out. We got the Luda, the Ultron, and the Loki is the only strategist we've touched so far. I'm curious if Purdue tried to reach for that. Okay. Instead, no, they're going to reach for the Hela. So I think a little bit of targeting, banding towards Noctis, and also trying to take out some of the ops for the Iron Man, trying to give him the easiest time. So what do you play with this Iron Man? I think it's pretty clear that they want to try and play around Tony, because they've crafted the bans and the picks that way. But what does the rest of the comp look like? I'm curious.
For Vanguards, I don't know. But I'm assuming we're probably going to see Pole play the Punisher still. Strategist probably won't be anything too wild. Okay. Oh, so the Doctor Strange for defense.
So we're not going to see Purdue reach for the 3-3 again, because they have the Iron Man, and they're going to have proper honesty walking out on the Winter Soldier. Long Diggity hasn't picked, but I'm curious if you go for the Invis Woman and try and give the Iron Man a shield.
Could very well be a possibility. We'll look and see. I think defensive flyers have never been my forte. It's not something I've ever been comfortable with playing. So maybe they can make it work here with poles, but the fact that they also have a Punisher available that they themselves reserved and are opting not to play here could be early shield destruction. They're not using that.
We're gonna have to see what ends up happening. Like you said, yeah, leaving the Punisher and not opting for it, but Noctis is gonna be bringing it out, so we will still get to see a little bit more of Mr. Frank Castle, but it's gonna be a problem for the Iron Man to deal with, though. As we have the Winter Soldier and the Bucky on one, or sorry, Winter Soldier and the Punisher on one side, and now we've got the Human Torch as well. Actually, what is this line from Conestoga?
Yeah, this is a wild one. This is full confidence now from Conestoga's, and there's no real native hit scan for Purdue besides the chest cannon coming out from poles that could counter it. But also, at the same line, because Bino doesn't have a native counter, he's forced to run away, and everybody else kind of has to fend for themselves against this Iron Man. Conestoga's forced to reset so early on.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Conestoga makes any swaps here, because again, like with only the mag, you don't really have a good Vanguard to try and like absorb some of the damage. Not that you want to just be like face tanking those shots, but still, you know, it kind of just leaves your backline completely uncontested unless you send Bino up there to try and deal with him. But Bionic Hook coming out, great Trooper's Fist as well, the mag bubble to protect the Human Torch, and now we can get access to this angle here. This looks juicy.
Oh, this looks fantastic. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think Bino up until now has only played the Emma. What a dive! And you can see that tank comfortability come back through again. His Vanguard ability knows no bounds except for the bounds of proper honesty. That being said, though, good revenge now bringing out that eternal bond with the Hands of Trauma are clearing away from Conestoga. Bino's forced to get rid of the Human Torch and has to go back to Vanguard.
And the good news is when you use that eternal bond in that defensive or kind of offensive capability for Purdue Black, you were able to beat Mystic Rai to the punch, so you don't have to worry about that Meteor M anymore. Mystic Rai essentially has to hold onto it for another full ult rotation, so the ult timings are all janked up now for Conestoga, and Purdue Black can turn that into more momentum if they just keep parlaying that into more and more picks. You're going to have that Pulse Cannon coming online for Paul Moss soon. That, I think, could be a huge win condition. There's not really anything that Conestoga can do to shut that down. Maybe that's the opportunity to pop the Meteor M. Oh,
hello? Just took a quick nap. Paul Maz, of course. Good for yet another. Kraken Impact is out now. Pulsar Cannon could be a good time to shut down this Winter Soldier, but no, not even used. This Iron Man has been playing so safe up until now. Trauma's good to remove yet another. Purdue's holding the line. 3 ultimates available.
We're only halfway to that next Eternal Bond from Nalgo, so if you're Mystic Rai, again, this Meteor M, what do you do with it? Like, are you trying to shut down this Pulse Cannon from Palmaz with it? I think that is still the best use, but Palmaz is going to hold on to it until Hungry Sharks or Envy pop one of their ultimates. So, essentially, you're going to end up in a 2-for-1 trade, and that's not going to favor Conestoga any way you slice it, unless they can get KOs off the back of it.
1 minute left now. Plenty of ultimates available for both of these teams. What can Palmaz do? Like you mentioned, CB, waiting for both these ultimates to come out. There it is! The Iron Man ult misses! Meteor M in return! Does not connect either! A game of nullification. The ultimates mean nothing, and distance is being made by Conestoga. And we've seen how great these defensive teams can be for the first point. But once that first point gets achieved, the second one is so tough to hold on to. And it looks like that first one finally goes in Conestoga's hands with 30 seconds left.
Looks like it's going to be, yeah, like you said, 30 seconds left. It's not a bad one from Purdue. Hello, what are we doing here, Noctis? That's a real aggressive play there. I don't say I hate it, because, you know, you definitely could have found something with the shotguns there, but Purdue Black just rip a quick little 180 there, and now they're going to parlay this with a Kraken Impact. Trooper's Fist as well to take down Envy, and suddenly all the space that Conestoga could have taken, Purdue Black are going to snatch right back from them.
Parlay into a Royal Flush. Things are looking great for Purdue again. Their defense looks so confident and so well esteemed. I'm curious to see if Bino's going to go for an early portal. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock would mean 30 seconds into overtime would be the second time the portal could be used. So I'm assuming they're probably not going to use it. But they need a way to get onto the point and divide out this back line.
And more crucially, they've given up the airwaves to Palmaz, though. Eye of Agamotto going to come out from Trauma. It's absolutely massive. A good mag bubble to save Noctis, though, but no one was there to save Violingia. And now Palmaz is there with the damage. 2 KOs coming out the back, and let's make it a third. And Conestoga once again stuffed back into the spawn.
And questions need to be answered now. Conestoga, they've been holding on to this Kraken Impact. They have Final Judgment set up and ready to go. I think a big fear factor has to be this Iron Man.
Yeah, and again, like I was trying to say, like they gave up so much space that now Palmaz has all the cover. He can play from whatever angle he wants, and Conestoga, as soon as they walk through the choke, have to look up. And if you're looking up, you're not looking at what's right in front of you, and that's proper honesty with the bionic hooks.
Oh, nice and honest as usual. Wong Diggity's there as well to help on out. But Agamotto was available for just a few seconds, but unfortunately cost the life of Bino himself. Invisible boundaries back out, and finally the appearance of the Kraken impact. But can it be enough to do any long-lasting damage? No, it can't. Violinja is forced to make one small step with it, and the convoy goes nowhere. Proper Honesty continues to dive, though. Polmaz is forced to back away. Ionic Pulse Cannon is set up and ready to go. Which ultimate will come first? Pulse wants to shut down the Final Judgment instead, but Bino takes the hit. Final Judgment is out, and finally distance is being made. Oh, the hands now of Meteor M to shut it down, but not before damage has been done.
I mean, they managed to take down both the duelists, but I mean, you can still hold this with just the Vanguards and the Strategists. They're going to give up a little bit of ground, though, as the shields aren't healthy enough to stop the damage coming into the backline. Mystic Rai has them dialed in right now and is going to try and make more space here. Palmaz coming back out, though. I have Agamotto from Binos, and we're going to also see the Meteor M trying to hunt down, and does find Nalgo.
Another slam dunk from the Magneto. Oh, but Violinja once again. The Winter Soldiers have finally woken up. The code words have been brought in. A doppelganger gone. And now, if only with just a few seconds left, can get to this point 2. Point 3 could be so tantalizing. But surely a portal is soon to be opened up by Purdue Black, leading to an Agamotto.
Oh, it's too late. Trauma respawned a little bit too late. Couldn't get out the spawn door in time. They're also not going to switch spawns. They're going to try and take this fight early, though. This could potentially backfire, but they do have a good Eye of Agamotto, like you said. If they try and leverage that, at the very least, they can force out the Invisible Boundary from Hungry Sharks, and that alone would be a win. Looks like they are going to concede a little bit of space, though. Give Conestoga this first corner here, and try and get a little bit more space for Palmaz. I like that as well. Honestly, both good options.
That's right, and again, Flyers have a difficult time when there's a small ceiling up ahead of you. Polmaz, though, finding impact with the Iron Man still, 93%, is waiting for that Final Judgment from Noxus to come out again before it's being brought out. But Trauma, that's the Agamotto ready. He's playing aggressive. He goes to the back line. Agamotto shut down! Not a possibility. Final Judgment in return. No Polmaz on the map. It's free games. It's hunting season. Turning the deer into Wenzels. It's looking so good. And now NB23. Eternal Bond is set up and ready to go. A final push needed. This is all you need.
The Pulse Cannon could shut it down. You can see Palmaz holding on to that ultimate, knows he's got to have the hot hand with it. Got to try and find the right shot at the right time. Invisible Boundary from Hungry Sharks. Going to be mirrored by Wong Diggity. There's the Pulse Cannon into the middle of it. Slurped right up by Rai.
Oh, slurped like a slushy. Agamotto, though, that's a flavor I don't want to ingest. Eternal Bond is out now, and slowly but surely everyone's HP is dwindling away. More and more KOs are absolutely necessary, but Conestoga, their roller coaster ride may very well end here. The shields are being held abound, forcing everybody back. Purdue are losing their ground quickly with another Agamotto capturing some of the best of Purdue. NB23 finds one of their own, and with only just a few feet left, this is a chance for Conestoga to force overtime for Purdue. Hungry Sharks finds action as well. The strategists have turned into duelists. The world has turned upside down. It's anybody's game at this point with so little HP left. This Magneto barely holds on. It's a hospice room, but a Kraken impact can't put the old man down. But Bino certainly can. Only with a few more feet left to go. Noxus looking great, and Agamotto inadvertently saving some players, but taking down others. It is an absolute slaughter any which way you look. And through it all, Conestoga, they get 3.
I mean, for where we were last map and the map before, this is still a vast improvement for Purdue Black, and I really appreciate the tenacity here. And it sets themselves up to take this to extra innings. Sure, there was an opportunity to maybe try and get a full stop there, but it just doesn't play out. The ult rotations from Conestoga, once they were able to get themselves back in the driver's seat, they never lost it again. A couple of hero plays do come out, though. I want to highlight Slightly Hottie with that Meteor M being able to shut down Violinja in the middle of that Kraken impact. I also want to highlight the Kraken impact that came out from Proper Honesty, even though it didn't find what it needed to, because of the Eye of Agamotto that came out from the other side, from Binos, that had the entire backline of Purdue Black just essentially tied up in a knot. None of these ultimates found KOs, but they drew resources, drew aggro, and stopped the other side. So we finally have a real game on our hands. You know, we finally have a little bit of back and forth. We also have 11 final blows for Proper Honesty, showing Violinja what this Bucky pick is all about.
You know, I would happily say I was wrong about Pomaz on the Iron Man. Despite them losing those 3 points, he was a staple factor in how much of a hold Purdue was able to employ.
I mean, if you're going to protect someone like an Iron Man, you got to be putting all your eggs in that basket, and it's got to be paying off. And I got to say, for Purdue Black, it definitely did. Although I will say, though, you still have to try and make it work on the attack now.
This?
Interesting placement for the culling turret from Noctis. Not sure if I can, if I've seen this one before. I can barely see it now, as a matter of fact.
Oh, well, I don't see it at all anymore.
Gonna be forced out early. So here's the interesting part. On the attack, the Iron Man has to try and find the right angle to get any value with those hand cannons. Are we going to actually see Palmaz once again get the better of Conestoga, or will the angles play in Conestoga's favor? So far, look good for Purdue.
I mean, Purdue should have the advantage here by being on the attack. Palmaz can snipe much farther away with this Iron Man and be much more safe when it comes to the anti-strategist ults. But that being said, though, this is brutal. Oh my lord. Purdue Black has come out fighting for this attacking side.
And I'm not seeing a whole lot of fight out of the Condors, I gotta say right now, as they've basically been stuffed back. In fact, anything resembling a fight. Hello, by the way, Strange TP gonna send them back to spawn. Trauma coming back in, sees the portal play actually coming out from the side of Conestoga.
Sure, man. Noctis has some of the wildest Punisher tech I've seen.
Well, okay, so like we do the Strange TP with the Punisher turret, like that's a pretty common play, but not really often on the retake. Like typically you want to go through the portal, you know, and can't really do that when you're stationary. But Trauma was happy to take the fight right to you.
That or like fusing inside of a column at the start of the round. Interesting things, Noctis. I don't know if they've made a big difference, but they were fun to watch.
Yeah, can we get like a yellow flag on the play with some of these? I don't know. I'm not sure if some of this is legal, you know, like. Inside the geometry, homie's in the walls.
Yeah, he's gonna be like in our nightmares tonight too. Holy moly! But I gotta say though, Palmaz is in a good spot now. Does not want to use his ult just yet, but my god, did that look tantalizing. Of course, now Eternal Bond is out. Best of both worlds for him. Meteor M does not find any impact, but unfortunately it still spells the end of the Eternal Bond off of the hands of Conestoga. This is a madness once again, leading into a complete shutdown off the hands of the Agamotto. It is a Whip City. Sure, man. Why not?
Another Eye of Agamotto now going to come out from the other side, though. But is there going to be anyone alive to follow up on it? The answer is no, because Purdue Black have taken no prisoners, left no witnesses. Condors coming back out slowly but surely, but more damage from Palmaz is going to make it harder to do. And yeah, stagger KO onto Noctis. It's like no one can really contest Palmaz for long. See, he's like low HP. We're going to get a quick little pause there. But he's able to get back around the corner and get a little bit of healing. What's interesting also is that the pause is coming out from Purdue Black, as Proper Honesty is the one who disconnected. That wasn't Conestoga saying, whoa, 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 this is getting out of control. That was Purdue Black winning the fight with a DC.
Look, this might be a miracle in disguise for Conestoga. I think they need to get a backliner to break up what Palmaz is doing. A simple Psylocke could change the entire course of this match.
I kind of agree, but the question, though, is, like, who's actually going to play it? Because, you know, from what we've seen from Conestoga, like, Violinja likes to try and play the Bucky whenever he's not banned, so I doubt we're gonna see a whole bunch of swaps there. Maybe we go for the Star-Lord, because we've seen that out of him before. And Noctis kind of seems like a hard hit scan player from what I can gather, so I don't know if that's going to be something that's in their wheelhouse, but maybe there's a little bit more flexibility from the Condors that I'm willing to give them credit for. We'll have to see, but if there's a time to show it, it's probably now.
Yeah, there's just got to be a way to get rid of Palmaz. He's able to hide away with the geometry of the map. He doesn't have to play nearly as aggressive as he did back on his defense. He can hide so far away, and with the help of the shields coming out from Invisible Woman, it makes it even easier. And through it all, though, it's going to be another pulse cannon. Does not find any impact, but unfortunately does headshot the goats of the convoy.
Final Judgment now going to come out. Meteor M to try and shut it down, but it's going to pop like a balloon, but so does Noctis. So we're going to have to respond with a Kraken impact from Violinja, trying to show what this Bucky pick is all about, but he can't quite get the resets as the other Winter Soldier, oh, he's a squirrely one, and Proper Honesty going to come on in. Violinja shuts him down, but it's a proper trade. Perfectly symmetrical violence, never solved anything, and it didn't win this team fight for either side.
Yeah, if we have Proper Honesty, that must mean Violin is indecent lying. The way that they've been able to slick away so much. But that being said, though, this has been good now for Conestoga. They are holding the line, in Purdue, for the first time now, they're forced to be on the back heel.
A couple more KOs going to come out, and Conestoga have to give that ground back up. And again, Palmas is coming around the corner, has the angles that he wants. Invisible Boundary from Hungry Sharks forced out early. There's another Meteor M to try and shut down the Eternal Bond, but again, it's just not finding the mark anymore.
Oh, Agamotto's out deep, though. It was blocked out somewhat by the Magneto shield, but it wasn't enough. The more squishy players, unfortunately, were victims of it. But Conestoga, they shut down everything again. Noctis has swapped over to the Phoenix, and it's made a world of a difference. 2 minutes left, though, on the clock, and there's plenty of time for Purdue to change it up.
Yeah, Purdue may not have won that fight, but they did drain the coffers dry. Again, Hungry Sharks with an early Invisible Boundary just to try and get the recontest, make it even an option for Conestoga. So now you're coming in with your own Invisible Boundary, a Meteor M, and this Pulse Cannon. Honestly, if you're Palmas and you just say yeet with that thing again, if you find even one, that should be enough for Purdue Black to brute force it the rest of the way. The only thing you got to watch out for is Violinja's Kraken Impact. So I honestly kind of feel like maybe you target prioritize him. Use this Pulse Cannon to shut down the Winter Soldier on the other side.
And there it is, a recreation of history. Those poor goats have suffered so much. Through it all, though. Once again, evading away from these ultimates from the strategists, Purdue are taking whatever chances they can to get this convoy to go up meters at a time. 1:15 on the clock now. Time is not on their side. Beanos does have Agamotto set up and ready to go, but he's got to play out the proper timing of Mystic Rye and this shield. Excuse me, slightly haughty in the shield. Bino is waiting for that prime spot, but he's just got to hop on over the convoy, and there's not really a good time to do it besides now. He destroys Iron Man completely, but still chooses to play safe.
And Song Inferno now going to come out from Noctis, but it's not going to be enough to burst on through that Eternal Bond, and neither is Mystic Rise Meteor M. We're going to see the block coming out. The Terror Cave KO to take down Noctis, and it looks like so good for Purdue Black. Slightly haughty now. Meteor M of his own. Going to be sidestepped by Conestoga. They're able to live it. Proper Honesty gets taken down there, and 30 seconds left. Purdue Black, they're running out of time to try and make this one stick. Conestoga might have done just enough to hold on.
May have done just enough, but they have to make this work now. This Agamotto stayed for the very last second, or so it may seem. One Agamotto! Can we see a second? No! Not just yet! But he's in so deep, he's being eaten alive! Oh, the wildest flesh being stripped away, able to be healed back. This Agamotto, the moment we've been waiting for from Bino, the proper timing! Finds nobody! Only one, slightly haughty falls. Now into OT. You're losing bodies quick. Nago not long for this world. Finally now Kraken Impact available. Trauma, barely an inch of HP to his name. Palmas is the last line of defense. Now goes buying time for this Eternal Bond. But even them cleansed away like a bad habit. And Palmas is the last hope. Holding on to this convoy. There's a chance. A frog's hair of a chance to get this back, and even he can't do it. A clean sweep for Conestoga.
It's so close. Palmas was nearly the hero that Purdue Black needed with that Pulse Cannon. You saw Beanos trying to go for a counter teleport play to shut down the recontest from Purdue Black, and it nearly came to be. The Pulse Cannon comes out and shuts him down, but unfortunately, it was just Palmas against the world, and the world did not let him have his victory today. The Phoenix shots just come out, Palmas pops like a balloon, and no one is left to get the recontest there. And it all just kind of peters out for Purdue Black. You got to feel for them, because this really felt like they had a chance here. They had the opportunity to take this one all the way. Maybe you're looking at that disconnect, that DC from Proper Honesty, and you're saying, okay, that was the moment that we lost it all. Maybe that was the moment that we never really recovered. And honestly, up until that moment, I got to say the momentum was very firmly in Purdue's hands.
I completely agree. I think things were looking great for Purdue. No criticisms from me. I think this was a team that adapted so well, and they had very good strategies for what they wanted to employ. It just felt like, whether it be a confidence factor, a mechanical factor, or maybe just experience, Conestoga were still able to counterplay at the proper times to win it out.
And like, we see a lot of carts stall out at that particular point on Yggdrasil path. Like that second point can be really unforgiving, especially if you come in with, not a whole lot of time. But interestingly enough, like Purdue Black came through with a beefy time bank, and you got to give your props to Conestoga, whether it was a DC or not. Even that far back to be able to bleed out that big of a time bank with just the proper plays, finding the right KOs at the right time. That's just peak play. Like that's just peak defensive play to be able to just cycle everything out and, run out what was essentially, I believe, like, what, a 5-minute clock? Like, damn, like,
Yeah.
come on.
No, that's always impressive to see. And look, I want to see more of these teams play. I think they were my favorites to watch today. And you know what? I can't wait to watch more NECC over the next few months.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a ride. We've got 8 divisions worth of teams that are hungry to make a name for themselves. And I would struggle to say anything but Conestoga have made a name for themselves in this division. Like you said, their division, very much so now. Purdue Black, I feel for them. I kind of feel like they might be a team in this division to keep an eye on. There's definitely some room for improvement, but they also showed improvement in real time, and I'd love to see where they are, 3-4 weeks down the line. Maybe in a couple months' time, we revisit them, see how things are shaking out. Maybe we get a little bit more Div 1, Div 2 action. Maybe we even take a dip down to Div 7, Div 8, see what everyone's up to. There's so many schools having such a good time here in NECC Marvel Rivals, and I can't wait to see, honestly, all of them.
Yeah. I want to go on field trips and explore all these different amazing divisions. And guess what? It's not just Marvel Rivals. Do you know how many games there are in the world? A lot.
Well, there's at least 4 other ones that we can tell you about right now.
Do tell.
Well, tomorrow, if you're a fan of Rocket League, you're going to want to come right back on over here because we got some Rocket League action. Rainbow Six Siege as well tomorrow. So we got 2 different games for you tomorrow. And then tell them what's after that.
Well, if you were curious, it's League and Overwatch after that as well. It's every game that you love. Look, I've been playing competitive games since before I was born. I love them that much, so you'll definitely be seeing me in these NECC streams to see what the competition looks like in all the different divisions and all the different games that go alongside it. So if this is how the beginning of NECC goes for this game, who knows what we can expect to see, not only down the line for this game, but all the other games that they have as well. That makes me want to eat more Wenzels.
I mean, I'm hopeful. We're getting like a supply of Wenzel. You're already full of meat sticks, and yet you already want more. We're gonna have to get some sort of.
Me. They wrapped around their finger.
Big Wenzel is like a big pharma situation now. Like, how much of the media do they actually control?
Big W. They control
Big
more
W,
than you know.
Well, they don't. I don't know if I would say they control this broadcast, but they definitely also help us out. Shout out as well to our other sponsors. Let me pull those up as well, because I mean Wenzel's is the one that we keep. Yeah, buy Blue Light. And Extron. Yeah, buy Blue Light and Extron. Shouts out to all of you guys. We didn't get to make as many meat stick jokes.
You just gotta make meat
with
sticks.
those two. They also make great products, and they help make this broadcast happen. You know what? We can't really ask for much more than that.
Yes, I mean, Buy Blue Light is amazing. Extron are incredible as well. We got to thank all of them for helping make these broadcasts and having us here a possibility. Thank you so much. But, of course, we have to go consume all of these products. I will eat some Extron, and I will eat some Blue Lights as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you all very soon. Have a wonderful night.